The hour was brought to you by the new Doritos Zinger from KFC. The delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy Zinger and Doritos. Also available in Barbecue Zinger, limited time only. KFC Doritos Zinger, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is seeking to assure Jamaicans that his government is on top of hurricane relief efforts.
I hear the cry of every baby that is now hungry in a community that is not yet reached. It goes to bed with me.
The assurance comes as anxious residents appeal for aid and food in the hardest hit communities.
The administration is seeking to get small shops up and running as a means of boosting commercial activity.
Students preparing for exams in hardest hit parishes may have to return to school under tents.
We're also looking at temporary school structures because we may have to use tents.
90,000 Jamaicans left homeless after Hurricane Melissa.
In news from the rest of the world, Grenada Parliament approves raising legal marriage to 18 to protect minors.
Donald Trump under attack as world leaders criticize his stance on climate change ahead of COP30.
In headlines sports, ICC names 5 Indian venues to host matches at next year's T20 World Cup.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the UK Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy has pledged the country's assistance to Jamaica as hurricane relief efforts continue.
Well, I'm deeply saddened by the loss of life and the scenes of devastation in the great country of Jamaica.
UK High Commissioner to Jamaica, Alicia Herbert, will join us to discuss the ongoing relief effort.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, will you participate in National Cleanup Week? Give us your comments by logging onto our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the Education Ministry is setting up field schools in the areas hardest hit by Hurricane Melissa. The Jamaica Independent Schools Association is also planning on setting up similar centers. Its president, Tamar McKenzie, will join us.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, RevaNews.ai, and on the Reva News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, November 6, 2025.
The hour is brought to you by the new Doritos Zinger from KFC. The delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy Zinger and Doritos. Also available in Barbecue Zinger, limited time only. KFC Doritos Zinger, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is defending what he calls his administration's systematic response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. The Prime Minister was addressing a media briefing at Jamaica House today. Dr. Holness sought to assure many Jamaicans still awaiting relief that they've not been forgotten. He says help is coming in a sustainable and effective way. Siobhan Campbell reports.
I hear your cries. The words of a Prime Minister seeking to assure anxious Jamaicans that his government is not neglecting them. With the initial shock from Hurricane Melissa now past, Dr. Holness says the government will ramp up relief efforts. He says the effort must be sustainable.
In the relief phase, there may be a sense that we will do this for a few weeks. I want to just bring everybody's mind to the reality that this will be a few months operation. That the country needs to understand this. We have relief entities here. Some of them are capable of carrying out long-term relief, but most of them are not capable to carry out long-term relief and will take up stumps and leave the theater of operations after a few weeks. So the government has to have that base capability to be able to sustain the relief effort for a long period of time.
The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, has been moved to the Office of the Prime Minister to work alongside the Jamaican Defence Force to more effectively roll out the government's response to the disaster. Dr. Holness says the coordination will pay dividends in the coming days as the administration releases much-needed aid to those affected by the hurricane.
So the JDF gives the legs and arms to the management functions of the emergency. So it makes sense that there is seamless coordination between the JDF and ODPEM. And therefore, you would recognize the movement of ODPEM to OPM, where the JDF is already under the portfolio of the Office of the Prime Minister. The administration of the JDF as well, which was formerly under National Security, will also move to the Office of the Prime Minister. And we have appointed someone to now head the JDF, the ODPEM, seconded from the JDF. So we expect that there will be seamless operations.
A new Director General, Commander Alvin Gale, has been appointed at ODPEM. Commander Gale is a seasoned military officer with over 2 decades of service in the Jamaica Defence Force, where he has held key leadership roles, including Executive Officer at the Maritime Air and Cyber Command and Commanding Officer of the 1st District Coast Guard. Dr. Holness says his appointment will help ODPEM sustain its emergency response over the long term.
In the relief phase, there may be a sense that we will do this for a few weeks. I want to just bring everybody's mind to the reality that this will be a few months operation. That the country needs to understand this. We have relief entities here. Some of them are capable of carrying out long-term relief, but most of them are not capable to carry out long-term relief and will take up stumps and leave the theater of operations after a few weeks. So the government has to have that base capability to be able to sustain the relief effort for a long period of time.
The Prime Minister is hoping these efforts will assist in getting aid to those most affected in the fastest possible time. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the government is creating a relief plan to assist community shops in the parishes worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. Prime Minister Holness says it's important to bring local commerce back online in the affected communities.
So I've asked the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce to develop a plan to support the small shops in communities right across Jamaica to get them up and running. One of the first things that we have done is we have identified some generators, and we're going to make those generators available. We're going to start with 50 in the most impacted and remote communities. We will loan them the generators, but of course there will be some requirements for compliance issues and to ensure that they are established operations that we can enter into cooperation with.
Dr. Holness praised the private sector for playing their part in bringing several businesses back online. but he made it clear that smaller operations cannot be left behind.
What is clear is that local commerce has been badly hit. The local shops are closed. The local pharmacies are closed. Markets are closed. We need to get those stood up. I also want the small shop in Adelphi or in Spring Mount or wherever else, that those shops reopen. Now, they can't reopen for one main reason. They don't have electricity. That's one. And the second is that supplies can't get to them. The distributive trade, which, by the way, is an incredible logistics operation, they supply thousands of shops every day with trucks going all over Jamaica. That has been hit. And they can't call to place orders, and some of them can't access cash.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, he was speaking at a media briefing on Thursday.
An estimated 90,000 families have been left homeless by Hurricane Melissa. That's according to the newly minted Director General at ODPEM, Commander Alvin Gale. He says more than 120,000 buildings are now without roofs.
Our initial damage assessment indicates that over some 120,000 buildings in Western Jamaica have lost their roofs. This directly impacts some 90,000 families. We're acutely aware that many communities are still marooned, cut off by flooding and landslides. The ODPEM, alongside other local agencies and with the assistance from our international partners, are making every effort to conclude on the initial damage assessment reports, the rapid needs assessment to determine the full extent of the damage across Jamaica. This will help the government to understand the needs as we prepare to transition to a recovery phase.
The bulk of the displaced families are in the western parishes of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, Hanover and St. James. The others are spread across sections of St. Anne. Hundreds of these families have found refuge in shelters. Commander Gale says over 100 of those shelters remain open.
A number of shelters have been closed as persons are returning to their communities. As of 10 p.m. last evening, a total of 184 shelters remain open. Some 2,487 persons have been displaced into these shelters, primarily from the St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland and Hanover areas. It is our commitment that no one will be forgotten, as the ODPEM is coordinating through the JDF and our international partners, airlift as well as dedicated ground teams to deliver food, water, medical supplies to these locations. We will not stop until every single person who is affected is reached.
Commander Alvin Gale, the Director General at ODPEM.
Meanwhile, food drops have started in approximately 22 of the 27 marooned communities across the island. Commander Alvin Gale is the Director General at ODPEM. He says the full list of the communities will be published shortly.
Food drops have started. There is a running list today. I was trying to bring the list up now, but I believe of the 27 communities, we've been able to reach 22 thus far. So there is a running list, and we're doing food drops. We're trying to regularize the cycle, and surely we should be able to put something out. And the list, I won't promise you a time now, but to be expected shortly.
The communities have been cut off following the passage of Hurricane Melissa just over a week ago. The communities are primarily in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and parts of Trelawney. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says over 100 food drops occurred in the last 7 days.
Over 300 hours of flights coordinated between the Jamaica Defense Force and the U.S. military. That equates to over 100 drops over the last 7 days. And that does not include the other 15 helicopter assets that are being used by international charities, charitable organizations. That's just specific to the 6 from the U.S. military. So you'll recall also that the U.S. came in phases. Right? They didn't come all at once. There are 6 here now, but they didn't come all at once. So that's even more to show the efficiency of what's taking place.
Darrell Vaz, Transport Minister.
And the minister says each food drop package has enough to feed a family for 7 days.
Over 20,000 packages, and that's just from the government apparatus. Each package for a household is for 7 days. So it's a lot of logistics and planning to make sure that when we drop, that family or that recipient has food for 7 days. The family has food for 7 days. So just wanted to add that to give you an understanding of the magnitude of what is taking place in our beloved Jamaica in today being the 7th day since the hurricane hit.
Darrell Vaz, the Transport Minister.
The Education Ministry will erect temporary tent schools in the parishes worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. Portfolio Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says the government is in the process of identifying spaces for these schools.
In the affected parishes, we have a little bit over 450 that have been affected, and that's infant schools, primary schools, secondary schools, 8 tertiary schools. So far, we've seen estimates of 616 institutions having some kind of damage. As we're looking at temporary shelter for people, we're also looking at temporary school structures, because we may have to use tents. And I've already spoken to Keith, and I've said to him, while you're doing that, look for spaces that could house a temporary school structure. But really, for us, our goal is to get as many schools back.
She says students who need to sit external examinations are a priority.
What we're going to do is to prioritize children doing exams, whether it's external in relation to CXC or CAPE, or if it is PEP exam. So while I was in St. Elizabeth, the principals were saying that they are getting schools back. It may take a while to get everybody in, but the priority was for those who are doing PEP and those who are doing CXC and CAPE.
Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, Education Minister.
Meanwhile, the president of the Jamaica Independent Schools Association, JISA, says the group is also making plans to provide temporary learning centers for students in Western Jamaica.
So I have been on the ground in Westmoreland, between Santa Cruz to Westmoreland, and one of the things that we have found is that they need safe spaces for their children to have some sort of monitoring controls. And so when you go into a community and you identify yourself as a principal, one of the reception I've gotten is, please watch my kids. And we ended up with a large number of children who just wanted to do something, and everyone wanted to read. And so I was out there reading with children. So based on the support that we have, I just got some good news a while ago with play kits and some tarps that we will need to move. We're putting volunteers together just so we'll be sharing the information. We're staying agile.
Ms. McKenzie says the hurricane brought on a number of issues for the association outside of just infrastructure damage.
We have many regions where schools have been completely destroyed. Many schools cannot operate with welcoming students back, but importantly, what are going to happen to our teachers who have been displaced? We have payroll to process in a few weeks, couple of days. We're counting down, and we really just need to know where we stand, what will be the approaches, the reassurances, and we also want to hear from our banks, for example, what will be the facilities that we'll be able to access to just stay afloat and to rebuild. And we really have to fight to keep private entities alive and engaged because of the challenges that we're facing.
Tamar McKenzie, the president of JISA. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
See twice the style for less at IQ Optical. Buy one pair of glasses and get your second and third pair half price. Don't miss out. Call 876-929-7732 or visit IQ Optical today, where clarity never looked sharper.
The time by IQ Optical is
16 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offices in Mandeville and Mobay are closed until further notice. The Kingston office is operational. Rentokil Initial empathizes with our fellow Jamaicans as we rebuild Jamaica together. The temperature brought to you by Rentokil Initial is...
It's 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 in Montego Bay. Continuing the news, the United Nations, UN, is set to mobilize a logistics team to assist the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, in their recovery efforts. The disclosure comes amid questions about the capacity of the agency to respond to the challenges caused by Hurricane Melissa. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the UN's high-level leadership is assisting in the effort.
Last week, Sunday, I had a call with the UN Secretary General, and I said to him what we needed was the best-in-class logistics capabilities. And within a few days, in fact, yesterday, I had a meeting with the Deputy Secretary General in charge of these kinds of operations from UN Ops. And they are mobilizing a full team that will come and support the logistics and management efforts of ODPEM. So yes, we have capabilities.
The Prime Minister says the assistance will strengthen the work and capacity of ODPEM.
No matter what capability you thought you had, when you are hit by a Category 5 storm, right, you must get even greater and better capabilities. And so UN Ops is here. I know they have had several meetings with private sector, I believe, civil society, and they will be embedded in ODPEM. And the idea is, after this experience, the technical know-how and capabilities will be transferred to ODPEM.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
And the Prime Minister has warned the country to be aware of those seeking to become famous by spreading misinformation about the ongoing Hurricane Melissa relief efforts. Dr. Holness says he will push back against those who are seeking popularity by spreading negativity.
Be assured that I will respond to any nonsense that is put out. Not to be distracted, the critical ones, because managing information is also an important part of the disaster management. If you allow people to cast your nation into despair and grief, to smother hope, to ignore the heroic efforts that people are making, and to just focus on the negative, then we'll have a negative outlook in a time when we need people to be positive in their outlook about our recovery. So I ask all Jamaicans of good mind and goodwill to stand up to those who are seeking to become popular on negativity.
Criticisms have emerged online accusing the government of not doing enough for residents in the hardest hit areas of Westmoreland and Hanover. There have also been allegations of partisan distribution of aid. Dr. Holness has strongly denied those claims. He says as the government accelerates recovery and rebuilding efforts, a positive outlook from the Jamaican people will be important.
How you feel will largely guide how you act. And there are a lot of people out there who are deliberately creating misinformation. And my job is to give you the correct information. If you choose not to listen to it, that's your business. But at least the correct information must be out there. I've seen someone say, Prime Minister don't like criticism. Nonsense. Not every opinion makes sense. I am not one who fears criticism, but there are people who fear me when I respond.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
Jamaicans are being urged to act with decency and consideration amid the ongoing recovery efforts from Hurricane Melissa. The call comes amid concerns of harassment in displaced communities, as well as the safety concerns among relief teams. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is warning that the security forces stand ready to repel any attempt to exploit the vulnerable.
There is disaster all around, but now is not the time to take advantage of persons weaker than yourself. Now is the time to help and support and to show that you are a real man, not by holding up people at gunpoint and taking away the relief that they are bringing. Try helping them through the obstacles to deliver the relief. That is how you're going to get respect today. There is no respect that you're going to get from brandishing your gun. And let it be clear, the police have not let up on their operations.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Dr. Holness says he'll ensure there's adequate security coverage at shelters in the worst affected parishes.
Now, the Bogwalk Gorge in St. Catherine remains closed to vehicular traffic. That's according to the National Works Agency, the NWA. The agency has recalled a previous release indicating the gorge had been reopened. The NWA says this is being done as a precautionary measure as the corridor is still blocked by utility poles. According to the agency, the roadway was scheduled to be open today, but is being delayed as it will be challenging for motorists to maneuver in the area due to the impediments. In a release, Manager of Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, highlighted that the Jamaica Public Service pole is currently down in the area.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The Grenadian Parliament has approved an amendment to its marriage laws to raise the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18. Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell says the move is aimed at strengthening protections for children. It will also align the nation's laws with modern standards of child welfare. Under Grenadian law, a child is defined as any person under 18 years. The revised Marriage Act now brings that definition in line with other national policies, such as the 2011 Age of Civil Responsibility Act, which sets 18 as the age of civil responsibility. Mitchell says the amendment also prevents Grenada from being exploited by nefarious actors who seek to take advantage of financially vulnerable families by arranging child marriages.
Donald Trump is under attack as world leaders lined up to criticize his stance on climate change ahead of the global COP30 summit. Trump is one of several leaders absent from the gathering. The others include leaders from India, Russia, and China. Speaking at the UN in September, Trump said climate change was the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, but world leaders called Trump a liar for his rejection of climate science and being against humankind. The leaders of Chile and Colombia asked other countries to ignore U.S. efforts to move away from climate action. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer acknowledged the waning political consensus on the issue. Over the next 2 weeks, countries will try and negotiate a new deal on climate change with a particular focus on channeling more money to forest protection.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the Prime Minister is seeking to assure Jamaicans that his government is on top of hurricane relief efforts.
I hear the cry of every baby that is now hungry in a community that is not yet reached. It goes to bed with me.
The assurance comes as anxious residents appeal for aid and food in the hardest hit communities.
And the administration is seeking to get small shops up and running as a means of boosting commercial activity.
Students preparing for exams in hardest hit parishes may have to return to school under tents.
We're also looking at temporary school structures because we may have to use tents.
That's the Education Minister, Dana Morris-Dixon. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
And you can find the news on our website at rivernews.ai and on the River News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Hi, I'm Lori Gale from Oasis, advising of a change in our program focus, November 5 to 18. We do a shift from reading the Word to living out the Word. Host Roland Gale will speak with heads of churches regarding their intervention in getting our lives back on track following Hurricane Melissa. Be sure to join Roland and his guests on Oasis beginning Wednesday, November 5, 12:55 p.m., with a repeat at 5:45 a.m. Only on Nationwide, the new revolution in media. Let's all be praying for our nation.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. All-rounder Romario Shepherd says the West Indies could have won the second T20 International against New Zealand at Eden Park in Auckland on Thursday had the batsmen applied themselves. The West Indies set 208 to win, fell 3 runs short, leaving the series tied up at 1 apiece heading into the third game in Nelson on Saturday. Shepherd did well with the bat, weighing in with 34, the second top scorer, behind Rovman Powell 35. Alec Athenaze weighed in with 33. Shepherd says the wicket was much better than the one they played on in the first game, but he says it was all about application.
The wicket is one that you have to give yourself time. If you check, most of the batters that actually score runs are guys that actually, give themselves that little time to actually, assess the condition and stuff like that. Because it's not a wicket where you can just go out and hit from ball one, because it's kind of tennis bounce, some gripping, some skidding, so you have to get used to the pace on the wicket. So it's sure that even last night when Satna get off, he was actually there to actually, capitalize on the start that he actually got. And tonight again, Rovman, the way he played, myself and stuff like that. So it's sure that once you give yourself a chance on the wicket, well, here at this venue, you can actually go big.
That's Romario Shepherd. Cricket's world governing body, the ICC, has finalized the venues in India that will host matches at next year's ICC T20 Men's World Cup Finals. 5 venues have been selected: Ahmedabad, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai and Mumbai will stage matches at the tournament to be co-hosted by Sri Lanka as well. It is understood that 2 of the 3 venues to host matches in Sri Lanka have been shortlisted, one in Colombo, the capital, and the other in Kandy. The T20 World Cup is set to begin on February 7 and will conclude with the final in Ahmedabad on March 8. The ICC is likely to release the full schedule next week with just about 3 months to go before the start of the tournament. Pakistan will play all their games in Sri Lanka as per the agreement between the cricket boards of India and Pakistan that says matches are to be played at neutral venues during multi-nation tournaments hosted by the other country. Now, if Pakistan makes it to the final is already scheduled for Ahmedabad, but if Pakistan makes it as per the agreement, the final will now be switched over to Sri Lanka. The 2026 T20 World Cup will have the same format as the previous edition, 20 teams split into 4 groups of 5 each, well, with every team playing the other ones. The top 2 teams from each group will progress to the Super 8 stage of the tournament, where they'll be placed in 2 groups of 4. The top 2 sides from the Super 8 will qualify for the semi-finals, with the winners meeting in the championship showdown. The West Indies has already qualified automatically for the tournament next year by virtue of finishing amongst the top 7 teams when the last tournament were held here in the Caribbean, with the final at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados. Jamaica's under-20 men's national football team were drawn in Group B of the first round of the CONCACAF qualifiers, scheduled for February 23 to March 4 of next year. The young Reggae Boys will face Puerto Rico, St. Kitts and Nevis, the Cayman Islands, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and Bonaire. Only the 6 group winners will qualify automatically to the final round of qualifiers. The Rudolph Austin conditioned unit is looking to become the second Jamaica team to qualify for an under-20 men's World Cup final. The first to do so did it in 2011 in Argentina. The Jamaica Olympic Association President Christopher Simuda says his recent election as one of 3 vice presidents of the America's Paralympic Committee has come at a most crucial time for the association. Simuda was elected at the General Assembly of the America's Paralympic Committee, the governing body for national Paralympic committees in 34 countries of North, South, and Central America and the Caribbean, which concluded recently in the Chilean capital of Santiago. The JPA president will serve as vice president of the sub-region consisting of the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean.
It is a collective vote to deepen mutual understanding and trust in constructing across divides a model partnership in the sub-region that embodies the values of Paralympism, the values of equity, respect, inspiration, and aspiration, all of which will be undergirded by the principle of inclusion.
Simuda, who is already a sitting director, defeated Marc-Andre Fabian, the president of the Canadian Paralympic Committee, and in so doing he became the first vice president of that region and now occupies one of 3 vice president positions which were created when members amended the apex body's statutes in 2023. Simuda described the election as far from being a personal victory but a commitment to the athletes of the Caribbean and the Americas whom they serve and whose interests and welfare are paramount in the regional sporting construct.
For all ideas to contend, for all views to be immersed in the melting pot of sport development, in creating a menu of achievements and legacies. It is for me a vote not of personal victory, but of collective responsibility, which I have been given the opportunity, the privilege of leading the undertaking.
That's President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Chris Simuda. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocho Rios to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
28 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 26 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy, delicious, crunchy, new collaboration, run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it. KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy Zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
This is a public service announcement from JPS. The service support hub for the JPS Customer Care Center, located in Western Jamaica, is now back to normal operations. This means that in addition to other support channels, including the MyJPS app, self-service, and web chat, customers are now able to call through to the Customer Care Center as before. JPS thanks you for your patience and understanding. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking it.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win-win. when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and if you've been with us, for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5, it's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good afternoon to you, Ricardo. Good afternoon to our listeners. And for the cover story this afternoon, we're going to have a conversation with the UK's High Commissioner to Jamaica. And listeners, the UK's Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy says over £7 million sterling in aid has been mobilized by his government to assist its Jamaican counterpart with the Hurricane Melissa relief effort. Speaking on Wednesday at the weekly Prime Minister's Questions in the House of Commons, where he substituted for Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, Lammy was asked about aid for Jamaica by Janet Darby, the MP for Lewisham East.
We have seen Hurricane Melissa devastate Jamaica and leave the country in crisis. The Imperial College Storm Model states that the hurricane was unlikely without climate change. Now, I know that Prime Minister is at COP30 representing the UK against climate change, but I asked my right honourable good friend, the Deputy Prime Minister, if he will ensure that the UK leads the way on preventing climate change. Yeah.
In response, Lammy told the House of Commons that he has relatives in Jamaica and that the island has the United Kingdom's full support.
I'm deeply saddened by the loss of life and the scenes of devastation in the great country of Jamaica. And like the Honourable Member, I have relatives in Jamaica, and I thank and commend my honourable friend for her personal fundraising efforts. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary have been in touch with their counterparts to offer our full support, with 7.5 million of aid funding already mobilised. We've chartered flights from Jamaica for British nationals who are unable to fly home commercially. Jamaica will also receive 71 million from the Caribbean Risk Insurance Pool, funding which begun under the previous Labour government that they can draw on for their renewal.
That's David Lammy, the UK Deputy Prime Minister. Now, Lammy created a bit of history yesterday as he became the first black man to stand at the dispatch box in the House of Commons, deputising for the Prime Minister.
Well, meanwhile, the UK government has deployed the Royal Navy to support the ongoing relief efforts in the island. The British High Commission says the sailors will be aboard HMS Trent, which set sail to storm-damaged Falmouth, Trelawney on Tuesday. The vessel will carry 75 crew members, including specialist engineers, to be dispatched across the disaster area to provide technical expertise.
Joining us now to discuss the UK's assistance to Jamaica in this time of tragedy, the High Commissioner to Jamaica, Alicia Herbert. Good afternoon, High Commissioner.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us. And let me say welcome to Jamaica. You recently began your tour of duty, yes?
Yes, just I think I landed here on the 24th of September.
Yeah. And outside of Hurricane Melissa, how have you been finding it so far?
Oh, no. No, it's been absolutely fine. Exceptionally warm welcome to Jamaica. Yes.
Yeah. Let me talk to you a little bit about what the UK is doing. The Royal Navy assisting. We hear from the Foreign Secretary that aid, I think it was £7 million I'm seeing was the last figure. Talk to me about what your government has been doing so far.
Sure. So to date we have committed £7.5 million to support the effort following Hurricane Melissa, and that comes into sort of three different areas. One of them is around the relief supplies, the relief items, which includes shelter kits, tarpaulin and ropes, for example, to support those who unfortunately have lost their roofs. solar lanterns as well, because we know still in many parts of the country that they're still not reconnected to the national grid. So in terms of the relief items, we've got almost 3,000 shelter kits, over 1,700 solar lanterns, which will service about 14,000 people across Jamaica. So that's the first set of support that we're giving. We've also deployed a whole range of experts as well, humanitarian experts. And as you said in the start of this segment, also the Royal Marines as well, the naval vessel that came into Falmouth. And they've been very much engaged today, for example, in clearing up Falmouth Hospital and getting that ready for further support later on. So there's a deployment of experts, deployment of the Royal Navy. And then we're financing a range of different organizations as well, such as the Red Cross. The World Food Programme has been involved in the distribution of food. UNICEF who will supply water and sanitation facilities, education, child protection as well. And then also we'll be supporting the deployment of health officials as well. So those are the sort of key areas that we are supporting. The relief items, the deployment of experts, and then financing a range of different partners as well.
Mm-hmm. And High Commissioner, what specific roles will the Royal Navy personnel play in supporting Jamaica's recovery efforts?
So the role that they've been playing so far, and they just very, very recently arrived. They have been doing some clearance work at the Falmouth Hospital, getting ready for others to come in to provide those medical services. And then we'll continue to deploy them in many different ways, depending on the requests and indeed the needs of the area. We have been guided all the time by requests from the Jamaican government and stakeholders and the needs on the ground.
Mm-hmm. And High Commissioner, the bilateral relationship with the United Kingdom obviously dates back centuries. It's a very, very long-standing relationship that our two countries have had. Talk to me about the importance of that diplomatic relationship with the Jamaican counterparts in ensuring that this has been deployed so quickly.
Sure. So, that relationship is key. And as you rightly said, it's a long-standing relationship dating back, a very, very long time. And, it is times like these, in times of need, after what has been a Category 5 hurricane, where the devastation has been so widespread on the ground, this is when partnership is important. This is when that bilateral relationship becomes hugely important. And that's why very early on, in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, we have leaned in, working with our Jamaican counterparts in order to start the work of relief and as well to start thinking about recovery and then in the longer term about rebuilding.
And just to be clear, so you mentioned the areas of assistance. Does any of that involve direct transfer of cash? Because Jamaicans have been wondering, when we hear these figures, does that involve actual money?
Yes, to the extent that, if I get your question correctly, we are funding a range of different organizations here in Jamaica, and that will be onward granting, for example, to a number of local organizations here in Jamaica. So yes, there will be a transfer from that point of view. Yes, there is. Okay,
but not to the Jamaican Treasury directly?
No, in this particular case, no, that's not the way that this works. No.
Okay. We're talking to the UK High Commissioner to Jamaica, Alicia Herbert. We're up on the break, High Commissioner. More after the break.
Protecting your personal data is a priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. We urge you to use the agency's official platforms to conduct your business. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:47.
Ho, ho, ho! And what would you like for Christmas?
A paint tough enough for my messy grandkids. Perfect color matching for my living room.
Paint that covers in fewer coats,
A finish that stands up to sun or rain,
BH Paints has you covered. Now up to 25% off.
Be one of the first 200 monthly to register on championsofcolor.com and get a free gallon of BH New Ultima Advanced Formula. No purchase required.
All I want for Christmas is BH Paints.
Discounts available at BH Paint stores and participating hardwares.
This is a public service announcement from JPS. The service support hub for the JPS Customer Care Center, located in Western Jamaica, is now back to normal operations. This means that in addition to other support channels, including the MyJPS app, self-service, and web chat, customers are now able to call through to the Customer Care Center as before. JPS thanks you for your patience and understanding. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. You're tuned into the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, and we're speaking with the UK High Commissioner to Jamaica, who have offered well-needed relief support for our island that has been ravished by Hurricane Melissa. And High Commissioner, talk to me now about how quickly were these aid and response measures activated? Because I hear you spoke about it just before the break. And what does that say about the strength of the UK-Jamaica partnership?
Okay. It seems we've lost her. We're going to try to make contact. High Commissioner Herbert recently, as she said, started her tour of duty in Jamaica. And that's a good question, Sanjay, because there's a significant Jamaican diaspora in the UK. And that's also something I want to ask her about, because I think what we heard yesterday in the House of Commons was the second time the question of Jamaica was being raised. It was raised before. Her name is escaping me now, by another MP, Mother of the House, in the House of Commons. She also raised it, and then to hear it raised again. High Commissioner Herbert?
Yes. Hello, hi. I think we got disconnected.
Yes, we did. Sanjay, go ahead.
Not a problem.
Right. So High Commissioner was saying, how quickly were these aid and response measures activated after the hurricane? And really, what does that say about the strength of the Jamaica and UK partnership?
Sure. So this was activated quite quickly. So I, together with the Minister for Foreign Affairs, we took receipt of the very first tranche of the relief supplies last Friday. That came into Kingston Airport, and then that was for onward transmission. So by the end of last weekend, we had in this country, for example, as I said, close to 3,000 shelter kits, over 1,700 solar lamps. So just ensuring that the very basic needs are being responded to as quickly as possible, and I think that says a lot about the strength of the bilateral relationship between the UK and Jamaica in time of need, when either one of us on the other side of that relationship is in need of support. That's when that relationship becomes hugely important and it kicks in. So yes, we were able to activate this quite quickly, and as I said, I think it speaks to the strength of the bilateral relationship between the two countries.
And my YouTubers are telling me Diane Abbott was the first one to raise it, this matter in the House of Commons. High Commissioner, in terms of the long-term arrangements that we will need here in Jamaica, our Prime Minister telling us that this is good. We're going to be in for the long haul in terms of the recovery effort. Is the UK prepared to stand by Jamaica over that long term?
Yes, I think so, and I think that has been a consistent message all the way through, recognizing, of course, we're in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane, hence the relief supplies, thinking about the deployment of experts, getting the medical care, getting health care, getting education services, hopefully back up and running, supporting the government in the immediate aftermath. But we also recognize that this is a long road as well to recovery and indeed to rebuilding. And there's been a consistent message from the very top of the British government, from our Prime Minister, from our Foreign Minister as well in the UK, about standing shoulder to shoulder with Jamaica as the relief effort comes on board, as we recover and as we rebuild.
Yeah, I'm happy that you mentioned that, because I want to look on how does the British High Commission envision its ongoing collaboration with Jamaica, both in the rebuilding and in supporting broader development priorities.
So we, as you know, we've been engaged here, in the High Commission in a range of different areas over the years. But I think we'll all recognise that Hurricane Melissa has been almost a sort of game changer in how we kind of work forward. And indeed, I think the Jamaican government is beginning to set out what that may look like over the course of the next few years. And our job here, our mission here as the British High Commission, is to work in tandem with the Jamaican government and indeed a range of stakeholders in order to support that effort and to support that vision that Jamaica sets out to recover and to rebuild. So yes, very much would be involved in that, working in tandem with a range of partners over the course of the next few years.
Have you been able to have any linkages with the Jamaican diaspora in the UK? And have they expressed what they intend to do?
Yes, so the Jamaican diaspora, we know it's the largest of the Caribbean diaspora in the UK. It is the largest group in the UK, upwards to about 1 million people in the UK, with a very influential role in the UK, be it from music to culture to food. We know that the Jamaican diaspora in the UK is very active, and yes, I have been in touch with them. And of course, like so many people, including those here in Jamaica, very concerned with what has gone on. Some of them still not being able to contact family members, and they have been not only looking on, but they have been extremely active. And I know that they've been, from collections of, from just funding pages through to putting parcels together and getting the freight on board, etc. So the response from the Jamaican diaspora has been enormous.
High Commissioner, I recall reading somewhere, and I can't recall where now, that you're Caribbean born.
Yes, I was born and I grew up in Trinidad until the age of 20.
Right. And so I wonder, personally, when you look on and you see the sort of devastation this region faces from the kind of weather events that we've been having recently, how do you reflect on that?
I think, and just earlier this week, I was in Black River and the surrounding areas, and the extent and the depth of the devastation was heartbreaking. But I think sitting behind that, and behind that Category 5 hurricane, is what we know is happening with the climate crisis across the world. And unfortunately, what we are seeing is an intensification and a greater frequency of these sorts of weather patterns. So, we've got to think about in the ways in which we respond to the climate crisis across the world, and indeed here across this region, which is very vulnerable, and then think about preparedness as well with respect to that. We can't, for example, think about building back the same way we did in the past. It's got to be different, given where we are with the climate crisis and what's happening in the future. And what I would also want to say is that there's already been some recognition of that. So we have worked with Jamaican counterparts, for example, over the years around preparedness and the different types of what we call disaster risk financing. And that's why now Jamaica is able to, the trigger, the catastrophe bond, for example, and other kinds of financing mechanisms. Jamaica is a global leader in that type of disaster risk financing. And the UK government has been working in support of those. So yes, the climate crisis, the intensification of these weather patterns, the frequency of them, and so preparedness is hugely important so that we're able to mitigate and as well we're able to better respond as quickly as possible when they do occur.
Yep. Well, High Commissioner, it's a pleasure to have you here in Jamaica, and of course we know we'll have much more conversations with you. Thank you as always for joining us this afternoon on The Cover Story.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you, High Commissioner.
Have a good evening.
UK High Commissioner Alicia Hibbert. Yeah, a baptism of fire for her, Ricardo. Starting just in September, and now the hurricane has passed.
Yeah. Of course, her Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer at COP30, and acknowledging that the political consensus around these issues, that it's waning. Yeah. And so it's going to be important. She said that, she believes that the UK government is prepared to stand by Jamaica in the long term. Yeah, because it's gonna take long-term intervention. I tell you, Sanjay, when I reflect on the things I saw in St. Elizabeth over those 2 days that I was there, I still can't believe that's Jamaica. And
it's a wake-up call, Ricardo.
Yeah,
we have to really start building differently, look at things differently, how we move forward as a country.
And we're going to have difficult conversations as to whether some towns can continue to be where they are, and we can continue to allow people to live in some of the places that they've lived.
Just yesterday, Dr. Tufton said it, that the difficult conversation must be held at Cabinet if we need to relocate some of our hospitals that are near to the coast.
Yeah, it's going to be important because I'm saying to myself when I saw Black River, and my understanding is that it's the cleanup has started, so it looks a bit different now. But I genuinely wondered whether we could rebuild Black River in that location where it is.
Yeah. Good question.
Heavy is the head. I heard the Prime Minister today trying to assure Jamaicans, that the government is going about it in a disciplined manner and a system in a manner that will ensure that it's sustainable. Yeah, that it's not just a one blot and then people are ignored and left after that.
Yeah.
By the way, did you hear the question from Zara Burton today at the press conference?
No, I missed the press conference today. What was the question?
It's an interesting question. Zara wanted to know whether we could populate the skies with more drunkers. Her concern with regarding decaying animal carcasses and whether we could populate the sky with more drunkers to, I suppose, assist in that cleanup effort. It's an interesting question. I had to actually ask, whether we sort of reared junkers because No, I'm being serious. I want you to take it seriously. I didn't know. But I'm advised by George that there is a shortage, drunker shortage, that the population is declining in this part of the world. Because it was an interesting question. When she said it, I wondered to myself, do we rear junkers? Like, do we have junker farms?
I didn't even know that.
I don't know, but she wants to see the government release some of them in the sky. That's gonna be interesting. But no, in all seriousness though, it's a public health problem, obviously, the decaying carcasses in the water, and obviously some bodies, as you understand, still not collected yet. So that's gonna be a challenge. But
it is a big concern, Ricardo, and I think yesterday we did ask the health minister about, the outbreak of certain diseases, and will the minister be prepared for that? It's a conversation that we have to have.
Let's hope it doesn't get. EVU said she asked the government to bring in some of the junkers. I wouldn't be sure from where we'd get them. Yeah, but let's hope that situation can be contained. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations. The hour was brought to you by the new Doritos Zinger from KFC. The delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy Zinger and Doritos. Also available in Barbecue Zinger, limited time only. KFC Doritos Zinger, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:01.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is defending what he calls his administration's systematic response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. The Prime Minister was addressing a media briefing at Jamaica House on Thursday. Dr. Holness sought to assure many Jamaicans still awaiting relief that they've not been forgotten.
I hear the cry of every baby that is now hungry in a community that is not yet reached. It goes to bed with me. And I have to think of it in this way. Do I try myself to jump on a helicopter with a package to reach the baby that is crying? Or do I try to develop a system to get more helicopters in, to get more packages put together, to get more supplies in, to get more support to be able to reach those babies that are crying? While at the same time saying to Keith and Darrell and Minister Tufton, get out there in the scramble. And so that is what you have been seeing, people individually going out there trying to relieve the human suffering. But that is not a sustainable response.
Meanwhile, the government is creating a relief plan to assist the community shops in the parishes worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. Prime Minister Holness says it's important to bring local commerce back online in the affected communities.
So I've asked the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce to develop a plan to support the small shops in communities right across Jamaica to get them up and running. One of the first things that we have done is we have identified some generators, and we're going to make those generators available. We're going to start with 50 in the most impacted and remote communities. We will loan them the generators, but of course there will be some requirements for compliance issues and to ensure that they are established operations that we can enter into cooperation with.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. An estimated 90,000 families have been displaced by Hurricane Melissa. That's according to the newly minted Director General at ODPEM, Commander Alvin Gale. He says more than 120,000 buildings are now without roofs.
Our initial damage assessment indicates that over some 120,000 buildings in Western Jamaica have lost their roofs. This directly impacts some 90,000 families. We are acutely aware that many communities are still marooned, cut off by flooding and landslides. The ODPEM, alongside other local agencies and with the assistance from our international partners, are making every effort to conclude on the initial damage assessment reports, the rapid needs assessment to determine the full extent of the damage across Jamaica. This will help the government to understand the needs as we prepare to transition to a recovery phase.
The bulk of the displaced families are in the western parishes of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. James. The others are spread across sections of St. Anne. Commander Gale says over 100 shelters remain open.
A number of shelters have been closed as persons are returning to their communities. As of 10 p.m. last evening, a total of 184 shelters remain open. Some 2,487 persons have been displaced into these shelters, primarily from the St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Hanover areas. It is our commitment that no one will be forgotten, as the ODPEM is coordinating through the JDF and our international partners, airlift as well as dedicated ground teams to deliver food, water, medical supplies to these locations. We will not stop until every single person who is affected is reached.
Commander Alvin Gale, the Director General at ODPEM. The Education Ministry will erect temporary tent schools in the parishes worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. Portfolio Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon says the government is in the process of identifying spaces for these schools.
In the affected parishes, we have a little bit over 450 that have been affected, and that's infant schools, primary schools, secondary schools, 8 tertiary schools. So far, we've seen estimates of 616 institutions having some kind of damage. As we're looking at temporary shelter for people, we're also looking at temporary school structures, because we may have to use tents. And I've already spoken to Keith, and I've said to him, while you're doing that, look for spaces that could house a temporary school structure. But really for us, our goal is to get as many schools back.
She says the students who need to sit external examinations are a priority.
What we're going to do is to prioritize children doing exams, whether it's external in relation to CXC or CAPE, or if it is PEP exam. So while I was in St. Elizabeth, the principals were saying that they are getting schools back. It may take a while to get everybody in, but the priority was for those who are doing PEP and those who are doing CXC and CAPE.
Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, Education Minister. Jamaicans are being urged to act with decency and consideration amid the ongoing recovery efforts from Hurricane Melissa. The call comes amid concerns of harassment in displaced communities, as well as the safety concerns among relief teams. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is warning that the security forces stand ready to repel any attempt to exploit the vulnerable.
You know, there is disaster all around, but now is not the time to take advantage of persons weaker than yourself. Now is the time to help and support and to show that you are a real man, not by holding up people at gunpoint and taking away the relief that they are bringing. Try helping them through the obstacles to deliver the relief. That is how you're going to get respect today. There is no respect that you're going to get from brandishing your gun. And let it be clear, the police have not let up on their operations.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Dr. Holness says he'll ensure there is adequate security coverage at shelters in the worst affected parishes. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smikle. Sports is next.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy delicious, crunchy, new collaboration run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it. KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? GLand Title Limited is the place to be. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates, first-time registration, land surveys included, affordable rates and flexible payment options, National Land Agency adjudication and land titling waivers available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at glandonline.com. GLand Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
They've lost homes.
Everything is gone. Have no house, have nothing.
They've lost power.
No water, no food, no light, no bed. Jamaican people need desperate help.
Some haven't heard a familiar voice in days.
The last thing I said to my sister, please be safe. And that was the last time.
For others, hope is starting to ebb. But together, we are rebuilding Jamaica, one parish at a time.
We have to try. We have to try. Can't give up.
Join Nationwide 90 FM from November 21 to December 19, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, helping families and communities rebuild after Hurricane Melissa.
And you can help too.
Bring your donations, non-perishable food, water, hygiene products, lighting, or recovery supplies to our office at 14 Ocean Boulevard, the Digital Building, downtown Kingston.
Let's show the true strength of our nation: unity, compassion, and care. Together, we can rebuild lives and restore hope. Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. We start with news on cricket. All-rounder Romario Shepherd says the West Indies could have won the second T20 International against New Zealand at Eden Park in Auckland on Thursday had the batsmen applied themselves. The West Indies set 208 to win, fell 3 runs short, leaving the series tied up at 1 apiece as they head to Nelson for Game 3. Shepherd did well with the bat. He weighed in with 34, the second top scorer behind Rovman Powell, who made 45. Alec Athanaze weighed in with 33. Shepherd says the wicket was much better than the one they played on in the first game. It was all about application, he says.
The wicket is one that you have to give yourself time. If you check, most of the batters that actually score runs are guys that actually, give themselves that little time to actually, assess the condition and stuff like that. Because it's not a wicket where you can just go out and hit from ball one, because it's kind of tennis bounce, some gripping, some skidding, so you have to get used to the pace on the wicket. So it's sure that even last night when Santner get off, he was actually there to actually, capitalize on the start that he actually got. And tonight again, Rovman, the way he played, myself and stuff like that. So it's sure that once you give yourself a chance on the wicket, well, here at this venue, you can actually go big.
That's West Indies all-rounder Romario Shepherd. Cricket's world governing body, the ICC, they've announced the 5 venues in India which will host the games at the T20 World Cup next year. The 5 venues have been selected: Ahmedabad, there's Delhi, there's Kolkata, Chennai and Mumbai, and they'll stage matches at the tournament, which will be co-hosted by Sri Lanka. It's understood that the 2 of the 3 venues which will host matches in Sri Lanka, the cities in which they reside have already been shortlisted. One of them in Colombo, the capital, the other in Kandy. The T20 World Cup is set from February 7 to March 8th, the final schedule for Ahmedabad. The ICC is likely to release the full schedule in a couple of weeks' time, 3 months before the start of the tournament. Pakistan will play all their games in Sri Lanka as per the agreement between the cricket boards of India and Pakistan, which says once a global tournament is held in one of the countries, then the match that other team would have to play elsewhere. However, if Pakistan gets to the World Cup final, then it will have to be moved from Ahmedabad in India to a venue in Sri Lanka. The 2026 World Cup will have the same format as the previous edition. 20 teams split into 4 groups of 5 each, with every team playing the other ones. The top 2 teams from each group will advance to the Super 8, where they'll be placed in 2 groups of 4. The top 2 teams in those 2 groups will now head to the semi-finals, and the winners will meet in the final. The West Indies, they've already qualified automatically for the 2026 T20 World Cup by virtue of finishing in the top 7 at the last World Cup, which was staged here in the West Indies. Jamaica's national under-20 men's football team, they've been drawn in Group B for the first round of the CONCACAF Caribbean World Cup qualifiers set for February 23 to March 4 next year. The young reggae boys will face the likes of Puerto Rico, St. Kitts and Nevis, the Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos Islands, and Bonaire. Only the 6 group winners will gain automatic qualification to the final round. The Rudolph Austin conditioned unit will be looking to become the second Jamaican team ever to qualify for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, following the class of 2011, which qualified for the World Cup in Argentina. Mount Pleasant Academy's opponent in the CONCACAF Caribbean Club Championship will be decided this evening in the Dominican Republic, and of course it will follow the second game in the return leg semi-final. Dominican Republic teams Universidad ONM and Cibao will clash at the Estadio Cibao starting at, it's about 14 or 15 minutes gone in the game already. It's all to play for. It's a 1-1 draw on the first leg, so the winner in aggregate tonight will go on to take Mount Pleasant Academy in the two-way final November 24 and December 1. Mount Pleasant confirmed their spot in the final despite losing the second leg of the semi-final tie at the National Stadium on Wednesday night. They were beaten 1-0 by Defence Force of Trinidad and Tobago, who got their goal on minute 12 from the Trinidad and Tobago national team captain Kevin Molino. And the coach Theodore Whitmore says the team still has a lot of work to do before they reach the dates of the final.
First and foremost, I don't want to find any excuse where we lost the game. Yes, it was the ideal preparation coming into the game this happened, but a 5-1 cushion in the first leg, it's kind of hard really motivating the players. Again, the preparation coming into this few days to get the team together again. But as I said before, would have met our objective, and we look forward to the finals.
That's Theodore Whitmore, coach of Mount Pleasant Academy. Still with football, Portuguese football legend Cristiano Ronaldo has hinted that he's coming to the end of his illustrious career. The 40-year-old 5-time Ballon d'Or winner told Piers Morgan and Uncensored this week that when the time comes, he'll be mentally prepared to walk away.
Soon, but I think I will be prepared. It will be tough, of course. It will be difficult, yes. Probably I will cry, yes. But I have other passions. I'm going to have more time for me. I'm going to have more time for my family, to raise my kids.
Cristiano Ronaldo, he scored unmatched 952 goals for club and country. In October of this year, the man known around the world as CR7 became the first football player to become a billionaire, and this according to Forbes magazine. Ronaldo credits former Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson for the role that he has played largely in his international rise to stardom, and describing him as a father figure. He also took time out to acknowledge the other managers who played roles as well.
Father in football, yes. Yeah. Like a guy who guided me in that way. Yes, it was a guy who always maintained his words, what we say, he promised. Very good man, and I respect him a lot.
Best man?
I had the opportunity to work with the best managers in the world. So I'm a lucky person. To mention one for me is not correct, it's not fair. Many people mention, my favorite player is this one. I'm not that guy. I like to say that all of them help Cristiano to be what I am.
Yeah, that's Cristiano Ronaldo. Former manager of Tottenham Hotspur, Maurizio Pochettino, says he misses coaching in the English Premier League. Pochettino, who coached Tottenham Hotspur for 5 seasons, says his lifelong dream is to win the EPL as well as the Champions League.
Yeah, the Premier League for me is the best in the world. Of course, I am so happy in America and USA, but thinking always in one day to come back to the Premier League. We still keep in touch. When I was, we keep very good relationship. My relationship always was good with him. During my period in Tottenham, after left Tottenham, and now that he left, his legacy is there. It's amazing what he did for the club. I wish all the best and him and his family in the Premier League and to win the Champions League. We were so close in Tottenham and we nearly touched there. That is a thing that we want to achieve.
And you know, when Pochettino left the English Premier League, he went over to Ligue 1 in France, where he coached Paris Saint-Germain, and he has now gone over to take up the national coaching job of the U.S. men's national team. The Argentine says he's very, very excited about what the USA could go on to do at the World Cup, which they'll be co-hosting with Mexico and Canada next year.
We are so excited because I think it's a massive opportunity for USA. Soccer need to grow, and I think it's growing. I think players like Messi are helping, to the kid to now not only when the kid want to play basketball or American football or baseball, they now want to play also soccer. It's growing. I think it's a big opportunity. It's going to be amazing. First of all, because USA is an amazing country with amazing people, amazing fans, and I think I invite all the people to go and to visit America and share the excitement that, because it's going to be a special World Cup.
That's Poch. The man they call Poch, correct name, Maurizio Pochettino. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy delicious, crunchy, new collaboration run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it, KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
This is a public service announcement from JPS. The service support hub for the JPS Customer Care Center, located in Western Jamaica, is now back to normal operations. This means that in addition to other support channels, including the My JPS app, self-service, and web chat, customers are now able to call through to the Customer Care Center as before. JPS thanks you for your patience and understanding. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our wonderful, wonderful YouTubers. We invite you to also weigh in live on today's Public Opinion. To say, what day is it? Thursday? Thursday, November 6, 2025. One more day before the week is wrapped up. We're going to talk about cleaning today, folks. Cleaning. And cleaning in the context of Hurricane Melissa. Let's cast our mind back to Minister of Local Government Desmond McKenzie, who announced that there will be an announcement soon about a national cleaning campaign to be launched in the coming days. He made that announcement at a press briefing, media briefing at the Office of the Prime Minister on Monday.
Later this week, I'll be announcing in detail the full rollout of a national cleanup campaign for the country. This cleanup exercise will include the National Works Agency, TPDCO, the Ministry of Education, and it will be led by the National Solid Waste Management Authority.
Yes, there we have it, folks. And Minister McKenzie says this mission requires the partnership of all Jamaicans.
The purpose of the cleanup, ladies and gentlemen, is for Jamaicans to participate in this national cleanup exercise that will take place right across the country in every community. The Social Development Commission will be responsible for coordinating community activities throughout. And this will be a call for national duty, for national response. The country will require the full support, the full participation of all Jamaicans in this exercise.
That's the local government minister, Desmond McKenzie. So with that said and done, when this National Cleanup Week, assuming it is a week, it's probably going to be a week unless they change it. When this National Cleanup Week is launched, will you be participating? Let's take a look at what the answers are. And if you're going to participate, where do you think needs to be cleaned, folks? That's what I'm going to ask the YouTubers specifically today, based on what you've seen on the ground. Where would you clean first? So let's go over to Public Opinion and see what kind of answers we got. If we go on Instagram, we get Ross Clooney Lorraine says absolutely. So that's one person we can confirm will be participating in National Cleanup Day, week, month, year, National Cleanup Campaign, the National Cleanup Project. That's one person that will definitely be on board. But what says the fellows over at Facebook? Will anyone at Facebook be participating? We got a comment and it says, Philip Jackson says, that's where my joy and pleasure shines bright when it comes to cleaning up my surroundings. In previous occasions when I was around my dump truck, play a big role in that activity. Wish I was there. What fun that would be. So now we have somebody that actually revels in the thought of cleaning. So Philip Jackson, he says if he was here with his truck, he'd be all over that garbage cleaning it up, man. So that's somebody very enthusiastic about a national cleanup project, which is good to see. Let's keep going on and seeing what else we got here in terms of comments before I get to y'all YouTubers. Don't worry, Sharon. Don't worry, Sharon. We're going to have tons of time for you today, yeah? All right. As a matter of fact, we can actually start off with the YouTubers now, man. So here we go. This ya vibe. He's gonna be the first YouTuber we go with. He says a lot of Jamaicans in the UK Army. I'm sure they would willingly volunteer to come and help rebuild Jamaica. And I can imagine you're probably right. I'm sure there's a lot of members of the diaspora that, you know, are out there wanting to help in some way. I know some members of my family that are abroad. I've seen the damage to whether it be the family homes or just the area, and they also want to chip in, and they may be a bit too far away, but eventually they want to do something to help out. So what's this? Who am I says, I'm exhausted, my work is done. Is that in context to the question, or is that in context to something discussion I was missing earlier? You're exhausted? Does that mean you've been cleaning this whole time? I'm not in Jamaica, says MDL 1996, but I have contributed to 2 organizations. What else we got here? Remember to donate blood, says Valentina XX. Oh, fair enough, man. That's another key aspect of relief. Yeah, person's already sick even before the hurricane, in need of blood. If you can donate blood, please do so in a very, very controlled manner. So, folks, how many of y'all are gonna clean up? And if you're going to clean up, where are you going to clean up? I tell you what, to pass the time as I wait for more answers. When I took the helicopter tour with the Prime Minister last Friday, it's almost been a week. Last Friday, there were tons of places, especially around Falmouth. We did Falmouth and Northeast Manchester, and you'd be surprised to see how much the residents had already cleaned. As bad as things were, it actually looked worse on Hurricane Day. And when we were driving through the areas and we were speaking to the persons, they were saying, listen, man, it looks bad now, but it was worse. And we were the ones that had to clean up the road, clear it out, get all the debris out of there. Even this morning when we were speaking at the media briefing, the Prime Minister said debris clearance is going to be a very important aspect of relief in terms of getting to marooned communities. That's another key aspect of this cleanup campaign. Yeah, we have to make sure that places are indeed clean for relief. We need to make sure that all blockages are cleared so that persons can get to the marooned communities, assuming it's just a road blockage and nothing greater. But yeah, man, lots of places need to be clean. So Northeast Manchester is definitely one of them. But that was last week. So chances are by now, places looking a lot better. And I hear it's raining on top of all of that too. But that's just the central part of Jamaica. What's going to happen with the west? I remember seeing on Instagram, Black River. We all saw Black River in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, hours after the passage had completely ended. And there was debris everywhere. Yeah? There was debris, garbage, down power lines, all the roads were covered in garbage. And when I looked at a video that came out not too long ago, they cleaned the place up, man. Obviously, the buildings are still in bad shape. They're still destroyed. But the roads, clean, accessible. You can drive around the place now. It's not just marooned. If that makes sense. And I think that stresses the need for a cleanup campaign. And hopefully, wherever the YouTubers are at, they won't have to. Hopefully, their spaces are already clean and they can go elsewhere to clean things instead of having to clean around their areas. But where are you YouTubers from? And do those places need cleaning? Are you living in a place that was heavily affected by the debris? Or do you live in a place that wasn't as affected and you want to go somewhere else? Novlet Smith says, I love cleaning, but will I get the time off work? I don't know. Strong Link, what's up? Was it you, the minister, big up today? It was. Thank you for the comment. But where are you going to be, Strong Link? Are you going to be cleaning? And if you're going to be cleaning, where are you going to be cleaning, Strong Link? Maintain an open mind, young man. Thank you, Wilbert. Wilbert, where will you be cleaning? Does your area need to be clean? What constituency are you from? How did Melissa treat you? How did Melissa treat you? I see a lot of people talking about junkers based on Zara's question, but that's another key aspect of cleaning, isn't it? You have a lot of carcasses, a lot of livestock farmers that lost their livestock. They're all dead now, and you're gonna need somewhere to put those dead animals. Yeah, the question is where? How are you gonna get rid of them? You can't burn them. I mean, you can burn them, but given how wet the ground is, how sustainable is that fire going to be? So that's another key aspect of this cleanup. As I read the comments, I keep seeing more comments that made me think of another aspect of this cleanup campaign. Can't manage that form of work, says Bev Thompson, but I am making other contributions. Country people will clean up their areas, but why just country people? Or are you saying country people are innate when it comes to cleaning up their own areas? Maybe. I am contributing to the cleanup and rebuilding, Mahiri. That's Wilbert Davis. Fair enough. Someone says St. Bess. Is St. Bess in need of cleaning? Let's take a look-sees, man. Where's St. Bess? I don't remember off the top of my head. St. Bess is in Senti. Yeah, I can imagine. There's a lot of places in St. Elizabeth that need to be cleaned right now. But yeah, a lot's going on. Wilbert Davis, he's backing the cleanup campaign. Bev Thompson says she'll contribute in any way she can. What else we got here? What else do we got here? Who else is going to do some cleaning? I thought you're supposed to read the comments. I am reading the comments, SH. But I don't mean I can read all of them. I have to read the ones that are, part of what we're discussing today. But I'm getting the wrap-up signal anyways. So thank you all for those who participated. And even for those who didn't and just wanted to say hi. Hi to you. I'm here trying to kill the time. But kill time no more because it's time for the business report. Let's get straight to it.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:33. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned that there will be a 10% reduction in air travel capacity at 40 major U.S. airports from Friday if the government shutdown continues. The head of the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, Brian Bedford, said at a briefing with Duffy that the decision comes because air traffic controllers have been reporting issues with fatigue. Some 1.4 million federal workers, from air traffic controllers to park wardens, are working without pay or are on forced leave because Congress has not agreed to a federal funding budget. Unions say many employees are becoming ill with stress or are being forced into taking second jobs as financial pressure bites in what is now the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Yes, there you have it. And let's go straight to the currency markets to end it off. It costs 161 Jamaican dollars and 90 cents to buy $1 US. It costs 211 Jamaican dollars and 10 cents to buy $1 Great British Pound, and it costs 115 Jamaican dollars and 11 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Stay tuned for more.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy delicious, crunchy, new collaboration run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it, KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
Hi, I'm Lori Gale from Oasis, advising of a change in our program focus, November 5 to 18. We do a shift from reading the Word to living out the Word. Host Roland Gale will speak with heads of churches regarding their intervention in getting our lives back on track following Hurricane Melissa. Be sure to join Roland and his guests on Oasis beginning Wednesday, November 5, 12:55 p.m., with a repeat at 5:45 a.m. Only on Nationwide, the new revolution in media. Let's all be praying for our nation.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
They've lost homes.
Everything is gone. Have no house, have nothing.
They've lost power.
No water, no food, no light, no bed. Jamaican people need desperate help.
Some haven't heard a familiar voice in days.
The last thing I said to my sister, please be safe. And that was the last time.
For others, hope is starting to ebb. But together, we are rebuilding Jamaica, one parish at a time.
We have to try. We have to try. Can't give up.
Join Nationwide 90 FM from November 21 to December 19, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, helping families and communities rebuild after Hurricane Melissa.
And you can help too.
Bring your donations, non-perishable food, water, hygiene products, lighting, or recovery supplies to our office at 14 Ocean Boulevard, the Digital Building, downtown Kingston.
Let's show the true strength of our nation: unity, compassion, and care. Together, we can rebuild lives and restore hope. Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Give us strength. Never let I fail.
Cliff Says is by far the most popular mid-morning radio segment in Jamaica. Cliff Hughes shares his views on the hot-button topics of the day, editorializing on various issues in the news, breaking news stories, and expounding on stories. Cliff Says sets the tone of the show for the rest of the day. Join the award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes weekdays during Cliff Hughes Online at 10 to 10:30 a.m. Join the revolution in media.
Cliff Says is brought to you by Educom Credit Union, providing value through service, and Hyundai, modern premium affordable vehicles.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With the Stinger Honey Bee
and Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you said?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezoneblindates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
What's everyone talking about? It's Front Page in This Morning. Get the issue of the day this and every weekday morning at 7:20 a.m. on Front Page. This Morning. Morning radio the right way. Front Page is brought to you by ABC Electrical for a better choice in the electrical business.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads Podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Good evening to you. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Well, listeners, the Education Ministry will erect temporary tent schools in the parishes worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. Portfolio Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon says the government is in the process of identifying spaces for these schools.
In the affected parishes, we have a little bit over 450 that have been affected, and that's infant schools, primary schools, secondary schools, 8 tertiary schools. So far, we've seen estimates of 616 institutions having some kind of damage. As we're looking at temporary shelter for people, we're also looking at temporary school structures, because we may have to use tents. And I've already spoken to Keith, and I've said to him, while you're doing that, look for spaces that could house a temporary school structure. But really, for us, our goal is to get as many schools back.
The minister says students who need to sit external examinations are a priority.
What we're going to do is to prioritize children doing exams, whether it's external in relation to CXC or CAPE, or if it is PEP exam. So while I was in St. Elizabeth, the principals were saying that they are getting schools back. It may take a while to get everybody in, but the priority was for those who are doing PEP and those who are doing CXC and CAPE.
To Dana Morris Dixon, Education Minister. Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Independent Schools Association says the group is also making plans to provide temporary learning centers for students in Western Jamaica. She says the hurricane brought on a number of issues for the association outside of just infrastructural damage. Well, Ms. McKenzie now joins us. Good evening, Ms. McKenzie.
Good evening.
Good evening to you and to your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Now, talk to me. How widespread has the impact of Hurricane Melissa been on independent schools across Jamaica?
Well, I think the one word I could really use is just devastating. I think over the last 5 years, I think independent schools have been recovering from something. We would have been making adjustments. We would have been putting our heads together, collaborating, and trying to just remain operational. We would have survived the pandemic together. We would have tried to ensure a value commitment and delivery to our stakeholders while not having our students in our facilities, maintaining our physical facilities, building out online infrastructure to make sure learning could have continued, maintaining the operations of our independent schools, which are private businesses in most cases, maintaining fixed expenses, salaries, all of those. And then when we were able to finally welcome our children back, we would have had to put in additional resources based on the issues that we would have recognized with children. Learning loss, remediation programs, scaffolding, different types of programs to ensure that we could have maintained performance levels, which it's important within our context to deliver on. And then we would have had Hurricane Beryl, where many schools would have had issues where flooding was concerned. And now here we are after putting up significant investment now to reopen this year, whether it be with training, infrastructure, expansion, different things that we would have done to stay agile and fluid to respond to market demands. And now, in many cases, schools are not functional, cannot be operational safely with the damages that we are seeing on the ground. And outside of that, one of the major challenges that I am seeing is just how principals, teachers, the wider school community, they're challenged on processing what has happened because we have livelihoods disrupted, and a serious challenge with the reassurances that we need or just the comfort to reopen and to respond.
And I know you mentioned many of these schools, they operate as a business. And based on your canvassing among your members, are you in a position to say if any of those schools will not be able to reopen because of the financial losses that they may have incurred via Melissa?
Some principals are reviewing to complete finally what the decision will be. There are some schools that have quietly shared, and so I can't name names in this forum. I think one of the things that we need to bolster confidence in this space, we need to know what will happen, especially in the financial sector, in terms of possibilities. I think while we're in the stage of relief, and the Prime Minister shared it, I was very encouraged today at the press briefing, just to realize that our leaders, in part, and I think I could say confidently in full, they understand the magnitude or the weight on Jamaicans, on small, medium-sized businesses, on just livelihoods that are at stake, that we need to know what is possible at this stage. Will we be able to recover? What will be the allowances afforded to us? What will be the takeaways from the test and learn that we had during the pandemic that we can carry over to our experience now that we're living through? And what are the risks that we're able to take to ensure that learning continues?
Mm-hmm. And in the immediate aftermath, in the weeks ahead, I heard you say that you're considering having the same kind of sort of temporary structures. The minister said tents. That you're considering the same thing for the independent schools. By when do you think you'd be able to roll those out?
Well, I'll share with you just at a high level in terms of what we have been thinking, what we have been talking about. So in some regions, for example, in Region 4, we have some schools that have been totally destroyed. Where we're able to collaborate safely, where we're able to move with tents, so we have already started in some spaces to procure tents. We have parents who have come up to say, okay, this is what we have that we're able to contribute. Schools may be sharing facilities in the short term to manage the rebuilding because we can't rebuild and continue learning in the same physical space. So you have some schools that will be temporarily relocating into other spaces, combining resources, and we have been calling consistently for parents to work with us, understand what we're dealing with, because the comforts will be limited during this immediate near future, but learning has to continue. On the other side of things, we have acknowledged that we do have principals, teachers, faculty, staff members, whether it be cook, security personnel, within our communities that are severely distressed. And so while we're rebuilding in many regions, we cannot become distracted. So we have started last Sunday, a few principals from Region 1 pooled resources together, and we went on the ground to identify some of our schools and our school leaders between Santa Cruz to St. Elizabeth. We were able to establish a base at one school called St. Elmo's Prep, which is very close to STEC, and we were able to provide resources there at a base because it was easily accessible and safe for principals, teachers, community members within our space to come out and access direct relief. Outside of that, we were able to go door to door in the community, where we were able to find teachers of both private and public schools, students of both private and public schools, who needed real-time support that we were able to provide. What we weren't able to provide, we returned this Tuesday. We left Kingston at 3:30 a.m. We went into the community and we were able to provide relief in the form of safe care for children where parents needed to do hard labor, find materials, leave their children in a space where they could have been comforted. And through that experience, we were able to start teaching, reading with the children, and really canvass the needs of the children on the ground. So, and I'll share with you, because I think because of our skill sets that we have, we've decided to use our training and skill sets to meet people where they are and to respond to the needs. So in going door to door, a lot of persons in the community would have called out children in the community to say, a principal is here. Come and talk to the principal. Many children are afraid because they don't know if they're going to be having exams and will be behind. We have a big exam trauma that we've identified where children are afraid for what will happen with PEP, CXC. I had a child break down because she's in grade 9 and she's lost all rental books. And so in listening to the children, we have been returning over a period in a small group to provide support, give them resources so learning can continue. And we plan to continue that, hitting the field, creating this clustered approach, and having the children come out to us where the parents can continue with work, they can continue to rebuild their homes, clean up their homes. The children cannot be a part of it, get a break, have some safety but comfort as well, and learn together. And it has been very meaningful so far.
Is this a temporary learning center that you're talking about?
Yes, so we've tagged it a field school or field learning. And so what has happened is in the pockets of the areas that we have been going, the students will come out and we will do it for 2 hours at a time. We'll have fun activities. We'll go through. We're doing some reading. We're doing different activities. We have a partner on board, Spry, and they've agreed to be doing some physical activities with the children so they can have some fun in the interim. We will be returning tomorrow morning again, very early, so the parents of many of the children who have expressed the need can get some work done during the earlier part of the day.
I'm here thinking to myself, the private schools obviously rely on fees and that kind of thing from students. And in these parishes where people's livelihoods have largely been wiped out, what's the financial plan going forward?
Well, I think as an association, we're still working that through in terms of what January will look like, what September 2026 will look like. We have started the conversations with the Minister of Education, and I'm very comforted with the position of our minister, which is that all schools are important, and that type of position, it is comforting to know that the value we've added over the years to performance outcomes in our country will not be discarded, and we will be removed from the rebuilding effort. And what we're looking forward to now are timelines, reassurances, comforts that we can use, go to financial institutions and bet what it is that we may have or can source from local communities, alumni associations, friends and partners to rebuild. Because we cannot rebuild if there is any position to relocate exam students or families out of parish, because we will not have students returning. So we have to be very clear on what it is that the plans will be. We have to ensure that while we're planning, the business matter experts, especially from the financial industry, especially from entities like the PSOJ, that they're also understanding the context that we operate in.
Yeah.
They understand that outside of...
I know you mentioned the learning center, but talk to me more generally. How are your teachers, your parents, your students coping emotionally and more so academically in the wake of the disaster?
I don't think anyone is coping. I think we have a lot of shock that is still taking place. And I think that shock and processing will take some time. I have been calling for increased psychosocial support for all stakeholders. I think one of the things that we have to move on very quickly as a country is standardized times when different groups will come out or call out for prayer and encouragement. We have always been a praying nation. And I think in this time it is something that we need to increase on, and we need to provide forums within which people can worship. We can give thanks for where we are, what is remaining, and you would hear it in pockets. We're still here, and we want to fight together. I think in spite of the devastation and the gaps that exist, and even in the space of figuring out how we will recover, I think I am experiencing a time in education when all sectors are coming together. I have seen many principals from the public schools. I have to give a big thank you to the principal of the Jamaica, the president of the secondary schools, Mr. Linvern Wright, who has stayed in touch with private schools and has also made serious connections with us. We have recently onboarded a partner through One-on-One, Mr. Ricardo Allen, who is working with us in a real way to ensure that we're able to retain our students. Learning can continue without compromising exam outcomes and just the performance that our community is used to. And I think that has helped. And also we have many independent schools that have been unaffected, that have been doing different activities to support those schools that are down. So we have the camaraderie on the ground. We have the support and the encouragement. What we need now, we need assurances. We need to know what the comforts will be. We need to know what the timelines look like, and specifically where inclusion will lie. I think there are many creative opportunities where our independent schools that are in their own community large employers, where many Jamaicans depend on their jobs within our space. We need to know how functionally and how quickly we will understand where we fit, and the commitment from our government to ensure that as educators, we stayed in our country to build our country, that we will not be discarded. That is what we want to hear now.
Well, thank you as always. It's loud and clear. Let's see what happens as we move forward. Tamara McKenzie, the president of the Jamaica Independent Schools Association. Thank you as always for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. Bye.
Listeners, we're up on the break. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's time to hear from you. 630-9271-4, 618-6730. We take the break and come back.
The Pink Run, a corporate wellness challenge, encourages physical activity, healthy eating, and age-appropriate health checks. Remember, early detection saves lives. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
7 o'clock.
They've lost homes.
Everything is gone. Have no house, have nothing.
They've lost power.
No water, no food, no light, no bed. Jamaican people need desperate help.
Some haven't heard a familiar voice in days.
The last thing I said to my sister, please be safe. And that was the last time.
For others, hope is starting to ebb. But together, we are rebuilding Jamaica, one parish at a time.
We have to try. We have to try. Can't give up.
Join Nationwide 90 FM from November 21 to December 19, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, helping families and communities rebuild after Hurricane Melissa.
And you can help too.
Bring your donations, non-perishable food, water, hygiene products, lighting, or recovery supplies to our office at 14 Ocean Boulevard, the Digital Building, downtown Kingston.
Let's show the true strength of our nation: unity, compassion, and care. Together, we can rebuild lives and restore hope. Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Give us strength. Oh, never let I fail.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Hi, I'm Lori Gale from Oasis, advising of a change in our program focus, November 5 to 18. We do a shift from reading the Word to living out the Word. Host Roland Gale will speak with heads of churches regarding their intervention in getting our lives back on track following Hurricane Melissa. Be sure to join Roland and his guests on Oasis beginning Wednesday, November 5, 12:55 p.m. with a repeat at 5:45 a.m. only on Nationwide, the new revolution in media. Let's all be praying for our nation.
Three minutes after 7, we're taking your calls, 630-9371-4 and 618-6730. That's 876-630-9371-4, 876-618-6730. You were saying something, Sanjay?
I think it's 7371-4.
No, it's 71-7273-74 and 618-6730. Those are the numbers I said in studio.
I need to learn this new one.
Yes, there is a new one indeed.
Yes.
Tell me something. What do you make so far? Because there have been some criticisms
yes.
I've seen online of the opposition's posture, if you want to call it that, vis-a-vis what the government has been doing so far.
Yeah, you know, Ricardo, I've been looking on, and the matter of politics and talking about the government playing politics and all of that in the mix. But largely, what we have to understand is we have never had a hurricane of this magnitude.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. And we have to understand that it's going to take the government some time to get their ducks in a row. What I really am not happy with the posture of the opposition, because they're talking about the politicking, but I'm seeing that coming from the opposition side more so than the government. And the complaint was that the Prime Minister did not go to Westmoreland initially. Yeah, and we recognize that the Prime Minister eventually he went to Westmoreland. But on the flip side, the leader of the opposition, he only visited Westmoreland. Now, if we want to talk about the politics and who is playing the politics, we could flip it to say, why is it that the leader of the opposition, who is calling out the government about playing politics, why did he decide of all the places to go to Westmoreland, which is a PNP stronghold? So the bigger point I'm trying to make, Ricardo, at this point, I really want to see the government and the opposition working together and ensuring that those within the communities, they get the much needed supplies that is necessary for them to function. Now is not the time for the politicking. Now is the time, and I'm happy that the Prime Minister made it very, very clear in the Parliament earlier this week. And I'm now expecting for the opposition and the government simply to work together. Yeah, It's easy to say something is politics, yeah, on the surface of it. But I'm happy that the Prime Minister made that declaration.
Yeah. Ian, good evening.
Hi, good evening, gentlemen. How are you all doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
How are you?
I'm okay. No, still, in prayer mode for my friends in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and all over who have been affected. One of the reasons, you're hearing me, right?
Yes, man, clearly.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay. I don't know why there seems to be an echoing, but let me see how best I can do this. So, my observation is with the Parliament, and I don't know if you can help to explain it to perhaps the public. This thing where they're having an issue with the Speaker of the House, where this members phrase a question, and so much so that I find it offensive the way they're attacking the Speaker of the House. On the flip side of it, well, we're human, and many times we sometimes forget that our member of Parliament, they do experience their own grief, their own hurt, their own pain, and I don't know if they could suspend the rule whenever they're in Parliament, just to allow for a sense of expression, because nobody knows what some of these members of Parliament are experiencing mentally, psychologically, having to be dealing with such great, what you call it now, what is happening now in their constituency and loss of life. So, whenever they get up to speak, they may speak a bit passionate. And then it may seem as if the Speaker of the House is being insensitive. However, she's guided by the standing order. And, I don't know what your take on it or how should we remedy this issue, but I don't like to see the disrespecting of the Speaker of the House when she's just trying to uphold a legislation that the same all members I voted for before, right? And I've been the guide ever since in the Parliament.
Yeah, so three responses, Ian. Well, first of all, it's a standing orders, right? It's not law. The rules that govern the House. The second thing is I recognize that on Tuesday, Mrs. Holness, the Speaker, gave a little more latitude than she'd normally do in allowing members of the opposition to express themselves and to ask their questions. But I do think I would have supported on Tuesday a suspension of the standing orders, on Tuesday specifically, to allow for more, right? Yes, she's following the rules, and you're absolutely right. The standing orders requires you to ask questions unless you're the substantive opposition spokesman that's responding. But I think where we were as a country on Tuesday, it was important to allow the members of Parliament on both sides, really, to say more, to express themselves, to say what they'd heard from their constituents, and to represent and bring the voices of their constituents to the floor of the House. As I said, I think she did allow some of that in terms of the latitude she gave in asking the questions, but I think there were other times where she was a bit firm on saying, get to the question. And I think in a period of real national trauma, I would have asked for a suspension of the standing orders to allow more, because I thought it was important in that respect. But I think generally speaking, though, you're right. She is abiding by the rules that the House itself passed and I agreed to abide by. And if it is that we believe now that the standing orders, as it relates to questions, it's acting like too much of a straitjacket, then we should change it. And I think there's another thing, another reason perhaps why we are where we are now. And I've said it before. Speakers past have allowed the standing orders to be ignored. That's the truth. You know, they've allowed the members to just free fall. They've been very relaxed in the chair. Juliet Holness has taken another posture. She clearly believes that for the business of the parliament to be conducted in order, then you need to follow the order as laid down by the standing order, and she has been enforcing that. You can't blame her for enforcing the rules that the House itself, and it's important to keep stressing this, these are not rules she made up herself. And I saw, if I could just say one more thing, I saw a Gleaner editorial that compared sought to compare Mrs. Holness to what I suppose the Gleaner was putting out there as the standard. John Burke, the former Speaker of the House of Commons in the UK. And he will always tell you that the Speaker is an agent of the House, that the Speaker has no voice or has no tongue except where the House grants that power. And so she's enforcing the rules. I mean, I took offense to, a black woman being told that, the white man was a standard. But that aside, so she has been following the rules, and I think that's important. And if they want to change it, they can change it.
Yeah, and I agree, because it's personal. It's getting personal. And I don't like it. I mean, it to me, and even with Dr. Campbell.
Yeah.
Dr. Campbell makes himself unfavorable. But somebody who has been in the church as well for so many years, you kind of expect a little better from him. But sometimes they're just so, I don't know what's wrong with them, full of ego and defensive and thin skin. It's a rule. They follow the rule or ask for the suspension of the rule.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that people fear, if I can use that word, is that a suspension or a sort of anything goes approach is where the opposition will try to use it to make political points. But when I balance everything, I don't know that is so damaging that on Tuesday, and I'm speaking specifically of Tuesday gone, you wouldn't have allowed them to express themselves more and to represent what they had heard.
And quick suggestion for the recovery.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because I'm not privy to what the plan is. If it is, I'd love to know the idea if we could perhaps just try and get people back in their constituency and have a way how we feed those who are affected on a divisional basis. So it's better to reach people who are where you used to live, each division, each district. Well, let me use the word district. Each district, you have a rep or a coordinator who is liaising with the main distributing site to ensure that persons, because like the elderly now, who are in the district who cannot come to the town, to me, sometimes I'm afraid that they are neglected, they are left behind, while those who can walk and come to the town are scraping up things. But if we could probably get it more organized, I'd love for whoever is doing this to perhaps just share how it is being organized and, to ensure that no one is left behind.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable call, Ian. And I don't know if you heard the Prime Minister today that he had charged the Chief of Defence Staff as well as Commander, the new head of ODPEM, charged him to work with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to ensure that there is some kind of mechanism and concrete way of distributing the aid. And I imagine they would want to consider that as well, because you're absolutely right. There are people who are shut in and who perhaps can't get to the central areas.
Yes, and good job to Nationwide and its team, continent, giving coverage and what I'll say, unbiased coverage and sticking to what I'll say, true journalism.
All right. Thank you for the call, Ian. Thank you. 630-9371-4, 618-6730. Cleveland, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Ricardo.
How are you, my friend?
Not bad, Mr. Sanjay.
How are you, Cleveland?
Not bad. How was it with you?
I'm good. My mom lost majority of the roof and everything in the house is destroyed, but we're building back. Yeah. Yes. I'm not hearing from her every day, but sometimes once per week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're putting some necessary steps in place so at least we can maintain the communication.
Okay, all right, that's good. You know something with the opposition party, when I see them Tuesday in the house, it's as if they go for a battle, you know, to go have a fight with the Speaker of the House. When you see Dayton Campbell's way, you know, how he present himself, you know, going like a bad man, and don't want to listen to nothing the Speaker is saying.
What the posture I realized from the opposition, for the most part, is that they have come pretty close, in their minds, of winning the last general election.
Yes, they don't get over it now.
And because they're coming with such a strong, what they would call a mandate, they see that, there's certain posture and certain attitude that they bring to the parliament, And that's what I'm seeing. But I will agree with Ricardo that on the last sitting, it would have been good to suspend the standing orders so that the MPs could have, describe what is happening within the constituencies and give them a broader picture to the nation.
Yes. But at the same time, them still need to know that they have to have respect for the Speaker of the House. Okay? And I noticed one young lady in there trying to tell one of the members of Parliament said they don't know how to use words. Was it so?
Yes, I think that was the exchange between Dwayne Smith and Nikisha Burchell.
Yes.
I think she was saying she was using a metaphor.
Yes, but
he objected on a point of order.
Yes, but she out of order too, because she must know what the House called for and how to say words to people.
Well, you know, that kind of banter don't bother me in Cleveland. That kind of banter don't bother me.
Okay.
But I hear you. Yeah, man.
Yes, man, but at the press conference, I don't know, but look like some people come fight all of the JLP people in that place, you know. But may I tell you the politics in this place, sir.
Some people like who?
Well, that's Mrs. Jackson Miller all of a sudden turning up now to this press conference. The first one she said, tell the government or the people in there that they're locking out the PMP out of things, you know. I don't know, but you get the feelings as if the JLP should forget even about their constituency and go to the constituency where the PMP they represent, and they must get looked after right away, even in the storm. Right? Because she's telling the people that they should have a mass set of people ready to go in. Go in where? Oh, where would they go? And everywhere black and things were so. They couldn't get in there because they have to use people to do it. Where they was going to get those people? You see? I don't know. I know we're going to have a hard time to get back this country back in foot, you know.
But why do you see Mrs. Jackson Miller's appearance at the media briefing as a negative? I mean, she's a journalist. She's entitled to be there if she chooses to go.
She must, you know, have a little decency in her and don't show us it. Because we know already that she don't really have nothing good to talk about the JLP, and especially Mr. Holness. You know. We know. A lot of us out here know that.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know that.
Right? You don't know.
I don't know that.
Right? And she still must be a journalist, you know, that we can understand what she's saying, and we don't take it as a political. She's just there for a political reason.
You didn't understand the questions that Mrs. Jackson Miller asked at the press conference?
Yes, she asked the question, but sometimes there's question that never necessary at that point, yes, sir.
Hear you.
That they're locking out the PMP out of everything. It's not true. Because I noticed that Mr. Golin telling the Prime Minister that he must set aside 2.5 million or 1.5 million. And surprising to hear that Mr. Holness and Mr. Golding discussed the matter. Mr. Golding come out with it even before the Prime Minister was able to report it. And yet he give the country the feeling, say, well, they weren't talking. You know, they weren't discussing things. Or Mr. Holness wasn't telling him what his plan of thinking and so on.
But I think what the opposition is saying, though, Cleveland, because while the opposition leader may have been invited to an informal meeting, they want to be part of the process, the committees that are established, etc. They want to ensure that the opposition is part of it so that there's bipartisan support in providing assistance to the Jamaican people.
Well, yes, I agree, but get into them constituencies and do what them can do. Until we're able to straighten out things, because you can't just run.
You can walk on through Gumdo, Cleveland, which means that nothing is wrong with them getting out and going into their constituencies, but including the opposition as part of the committees. Nothing is wrong with that. Or say to the opposition, we're naming a committee, and you are allowed to name 3 individuals who will represent your voice on that committee. Nothing is wrong with that.
The problem is that they want to take it over. They want to chair those committee. And that's a fact. They want to chair the committee. Okay?
All right, Cleveland.
All right, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Let's go for a time signal and come back.
Jamaica's poverty rate has dropped from 16.7% to 8.2%. As the government's economic program begins to pay off, our country is heading towards sustained growth. We are building Jamaica. The time by the office of the Prime Minister is
23 minutes after 7.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
We're taking your calls, 630-937-124, 618-6730. Papa Nana, good evening.
Good evening, how are you both?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm not sure that I'm not glad to hear your voice.
What's on your mind?
How many is hungry you people?
Oh, I was largely unscathed. No major problem.
Okay. But you know why I can't like Melissa?
Why?
Yeah, man. They don't... No, check the ranks, you're going to look for man.
No.
Oh, you mean?
No, Papa Nana. No. Remember now, Melissa Silvera was somebody's relative, and we shouldn't draw her death into her murder into a natural death. Yes, right. Okay.
You know, anybody who listens to Nationwide, no matter you have a dog, you're going to be bright.
Oh, that's good.
I hear a lady, I don't know where she works, Burton, as a Christian today. And some people may take it as a funny question, but it's a very, very serious question. You know, that lady trying to draw the Prime Minister in every little corner, every little way, that him try to bring down the government. And I know she's campaigning. No. Can you imagine she's asking the Prime Minister to go get some drunk up to go down a country there? They have it in car. Go down with drunk up to everybody. And that was that they want to know.
Just to say what?
You think that he wants the Prime Minister to carry drunk up down a country to go eat?
No, but you have to remember, Cleveland. I mean, the joke aside of the whole drunker business, the drunker plays an important bird, the vulture.
Yes, you don't have to tell me that you're just born like a dealer.
Right. So
what do you think they must say? If the Prime Minister actually to carry drunk up down there, you know what PMP would have did? They would have said people by then carry the drunk up down.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yes. So that was part of my concern about how you would ensure that the bodies that are still uncollected would not be interfered with by the vultures. But
Holy Django was going to know.
but I understood her, Papa Nana, to be asking about the animal carcasses, and perhaps she didn't consider the corpses, the human corpses. But I understood her to be talking about the carcasses.
Because bear in mind that as after natural disaster like Hurricane Melissa, you're gonna have as Ricardo indicated, the dead livestock, yeah, and vultures will help to reduce the contamination risks in affected areas, yeah.
But knowing the type of opposition that we deal with, would you put anything past what we're sure? Where she works? Where she works.
You're asking where she works. So 87 degrees, is it, Sanjay? 87. 876 degrees north, I think. Right.
I'm gonna check.
I think it's yeah. And I think she also does some freelance work for Reuters.
I am telling you, knowing the type of person who she is, you cannot put nothing past.
But what do you mean, the kind of person who she is? What do you mean by that?
Hello, don't you know she's a very, very critical of the government.
It's 18
degrees north.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What you say?
19 degrees north.
What do you say, Papa Nana? Is she a what?
She's a very, very, very critical of the government. She don't like the government military at all.
I don't know that. Papa Nana.
No, you wouldn't know.
I don't know that.
You are entitled to your views. I am telling you, why she say anything good about the government.
That don't mean she don't like them.
Oh, so tell me something now.
Remember, Papa Nana, journalists don't exist to say nice things about the government, You have to remember that,
Oh, so what? They should be biased there.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that because they don't praise the government, it's not an indictment on them. Journalists don't exist to praise the government.
I'm not saying that people look not real. They want to tell me that she has never seen anything good that this government done.
Well, I can't say that because I don't know if that is so. But
can't say that. Mr. Banana said so.
I hear you.
It's a good God gives that 2 years we have. That's why God give you 2 years to the more listening more than talking. Why you beating me down all while?
No, I'm not beating you down at all. I'm just saying I don't know that the things that you're establishing as a fact is actually factual.
It's coming like Nathan Campbell. You ever hear Nathan Campbell say anything good about the government like Mark Bowling?
Dayton Campbell.
Well, we don't want name Dayton and Nathan.
I can say yes. In his presentation in the Parliament on Tuesday, he indicated that he is comforted by the presentation made by the Prime Minister. That's something good.
Say uncomfortable?
He's comforted by the words of the Prime Minister and how they're moving forward with certain things. He said that in the Parliament, that he's comforted.
Yeah, but if he says something to the tomorrow is a difference,
No, but he just asked me a while ago, you say never hear him say nothing good yet.
I say that
give you one example.
Hear. I never hear. Anyway, I give somebody else a shot. I never hear, and you can't fight me down, we never hear.
No, we not fight you down. We not fight you down.
But I said, yeah, example.
But why you give me no example?
No, but you say you stay though, but you want me accept, say, Zara Burton have nothing to say about the government. But you want me accept that.
True.
Yeah, right. You go on, man. You go on. All right. Oh, by the way, I met Alric today, Papa Nana.
Alric was there?
Yes, I met Alric today.
So I didn't come there and pass here and couldn't tell me to come.
All right, this is the one me I get in trouble. Me gone. Bye. 630-9371 to 4-618-6730. Carl.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening.
How are you?
Carl.
How are your family in Iowa?
Boy, Carl, I'm not hearing from mother as often as I want, but I got a message from her today that she's well. We're just trying to arrange for her to get a generator. Yeah.
All right. You never done that. You never done that way over
I wasn't on that side. No.
All right, Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
I want to come back to you a little bit, Ricardo.
Yes, please.
Last week, over the weekend, I was in St. Elizabeth, St. James, all over the place down there. My relative is from St. Elizabeth and all about there.
Mm-hmm.
And the PMP was in full force Sunday, issuing out some care package in them full ban and then full arrest.
Where was that happening?
in Westmoreland Sunday evening.
Okay.
Okay, so me just, cause last week Friday night, I try to bring things to you. You never understand what me try to say. Anyhow, where me must start now?
Start at the beginning. Very good place to start.
You see Miss Burton there that you hear ask that question about the Junkrat today. Could you have a hurricane 4 hours and 23 minutes and you're going to ask Desmond McKenzie if he have an estimate of the damage?
Say it again?
The same Tuesday evening when we have the hurricane drop here almost about 23 minutes to 12, I think, after 11. And the press conference was about 4:30 in the evening. I come into 5 o'clock news and Nationwide. And she was at a press conference and asking Desmond McKenzie if he have an estimate of the damage so far. Could you, as a journalist, ask that type of fruitful question so quick?
Oh, I didn't hear that question. You're saying on the evening of the hurricane, she asked for an estimate?
Thank you. You can go on. If you want me to send it to you, I have it on clip right now.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I'll send it to you.
No, that wouldn't have been wise.
Okay. So this lady have her agenda, just like how she did ask.
I don't know that it mean that she have an agenda though, Carl.
Okay.
It might just be that the question never chalk up to malice what you can chalk up to incompetence. I'm not saying Zara is incompetent, but I'm saying why do we always just go to say that it's a political bias or malice? It might just have been a stupid question.
All right. So we not been saying Nationwide just come on the block for a couple years now. When we say a couple years, you understand. And only who have 4% listeners. But when Nationwide journalists them go and ask questions, we can understand the question them that is being put to with any minister.
Well, I cannot speak to how other media houses prepare for these press conferences. Obviously, our Mahiri Stewart, in our newsroom, we have production meetings. We discuss the things that we think the public wants answers to. And Mahiri goes and Mahiri poses his questions. But we prepare. I can't speak to how others prepare. I don't know.
Okay. I want to ask, I cut them short. This morning, Dion Jackson Miller asked the Prime Minister that OPM is now finding to its right position. So if at that time it seemed like she was trying to say to the Prime Minister, all of the rest of years, then it was waste of time. And the Prime Minister did deal with her in a very diplomatic way. You go and listen to his fight.
I watched the press conference.
Right. I like how the Prime Minister dealt with her. I wish if I could have that type of diplomatic way sometimes when me attack. Because the Prime Minister dealt with her respectfully. But she didn't know that the Prime Minister was batting her out of the press conference. Maybe she doesn't pick up that. Every bowl she bowl, the Prime Minister just say, you are too easy. You have your political agenda.
No, I never heard him say any of that. I didn't hear him say any of that.
I did not say the Prime Minister say that. I did not say that. But want to leave you with something else now. Golden say, no politician must involve into the rebuilding of what happened last week, Tuesday. But at the same time, Golden was asking for every member of parliament to get 50 million. What was those member of parliament and a politician when they now get 50 million? Sanjay, can you answer me that one?
Go again, you said it's not the what?
Golden. Say no politician must be involved into the rebuilding of the country. There were 7 or 8 constituency. But at the same time, Golding was asking for $50 million.
Did he say though that no politician should be involved?
Yes.
You're quoting him correctly.
I will go back and listen to it, if I misquote him, I will come tomorrow evening and that's what him said. He said politician must not involve.
I don't think that's the context though, but listen it again and then tomorrow.
Right. But so if you are going to ask $50 to give to do, are them a politician?
Right, but remember you may be on a faulty premise, Carl. So that's why I'm saying listen back to what Mr. Golding was saying, the context in which he made the statements that you claim, and then let's talk about it again. What?
No, it's not you, Sanjay. Carl?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Carl. Is there another question you have?
Ricardo?
Yes.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, Carl.
You spend time press conference call.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell all of my people in Jamaica, we must listen what people say. And you must choose your language properly. Because when you speak, people out here are listening very careful to it.
Carl, let me ask you something. Do you think labor rights are a little bit sensitive?
What do you mean by that, Ricardo?
So for example.
Yes.
Mrs. Jackson Miller asked today about ODPEM and whether, ODPEM had been hollowed out. What was the gist of the question? But you seem to have taken umbrage to the question. I am saying, you think you're a little bit sensitive. Huh? Say that again?
Jackson Miller.
Say that again. I didn't hear you. Say that again.
Ricardo.
Yes.
Knowing that journalist, Ricardo.
Mrs. Jackson Miller, yes.
Mrs. Jackson Miller. The only thing we left for Mrs. Jackson Miller to do is to just put on your shirt. Do like me.
No.
Make everybody
No. Okay, so you don't think you're sensitive. All right, Carl. Thank you for the call.
Just put on your shirt.
Thank you for the call, Carl. Thank you, Carl. 630-9371-2461-86730. Faithful.
Good evening, Mr. Sanjay. Good evening, Ricardo.
Hello, Faithful.
All right. Let me start by saying I really want to give thanks for the Jamaican spirit. As someone said, when we are bad, we are the worst, but when we are good, we are top of the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the true Jamaican spirit has shown for themselves now. Likewise, because I watch all the press conference, I think what we can overcome with sometimes is because if we have a certain view, a certain idea of who we think a certain person is, we come out with a different idea. That doesn't matter the question that was asked. Like myself, I don't think so. I think so. Question was not according to my likeness, but then again, I cannot use my personal feeling to say, boy, the person who asked the question that they were not genuine, they were not sincere, and I'm not sure. I am quickly ready to put it on to bias when we are either. For example, a question was asked about why did you went at St. Elizabeth and then go to Westmoreland. And I heard over the news several times that because we wrote this black area got a clear and we were going through. So I think that question, I'm not sure that question was appropriate, but anyway. But person asked based on...
Wait, somebody asked why the Prime Minister went to St. Elizabeth and not Westmoreland?
Yes, man.
Oh.
Right. I know, right. I think Dayton can be the areas at first. Right. And I like to call it. I think Dayton can be the areas first, but then a journalist at the press conference, not today.
Okay.
Not today. Then I journalist asked the same question. I don't think that. Because I heard on the news several times that they're clearing to bomb where the bomb they are to go to Westmoreland.
Mm-hmm.
So they were clearing where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the answer the Prime Minister said, based on the logistics for the helicopter to land and all these things, that we in a very certain place. But then again, some of this person is going to pose a question. Let's see fit to them. And I leave that on. Yes, I just want to give thanks to the spirit of the Jamaican people where we are rally around to help each other. Because if we continue to dwell on the negative, we will never get nothing done. So I just want us to come together and unite, just for the sake and for the helping of Jamaican people. Because I know for sure, if we start to think on the politics now, we will never get anywhere. And as night follow day, that day will come. Maybe sooner than we believe. Next week or some time ago. But for now, let us concentrate on helping our fellow Jamaicans. I think that we're better off for that.
All right, my friend. Thanks for the call.
All the best.
Joseph, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Ricardo?
Yes, sir.
Good evening to you and your co-host.
Sanjay.
Sanjay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have one question for you. I listened to the conversation between you and Carl a while ago, right? And I want to ask you this. Don't you think you're a bit too sensitive to his criticism of Deion Jackson Miller? Of course.
No, I do not think so. I'll tell you.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on. Let me answer a question. Let me answer the question. I'll tell you why. I don't know what Mrs. Jackson Miller's political allegiance is. I don't know what party she supports or if she supports a party at all. So I can't have Papa Nana come here, my friend, and say it is a fact that Mrs. Jackson Miller is partisan, supports the PMP, and is out to get the JLP. I can't do that. That wouldn't be responsible. So it's not about being sensitive about the criticism of her. We're all open to criticisms. But the criticism has to be based in some kind of fact. You can't just come and establish that.
Well, let me say
it's just like how people go on other stations and say all manner of things about Nationwide. And as I understand it, their hosts don't push back or their hosts just stay silent while they do it. I can't do that. I won't do that.
Well, let me say this in response to what you have just said. I agree entirely with what Carl says. I mean, all left for her to do is to put on the orange dress and just go out and just start to do whatever she's doing. So there would be no doubt in the minds of people like yourself, because she would now be in her party colors. I mean, it is crystal clear, you know. I mean, I wonder why anybody should question whether she's, you know, I mean, faithful to a party.
All right, here's what I suggest, my brother. Mrs. Jackson Miller hosts 2 programs. Well, one of them I gather you can call in and you can send in your feedback. How about you share it with her? I don't think it's appropriate for it to be discussed here.
Well, I don't intend or want to be rude. Because you're one of my favorite journalists. In fact, nationwide, I mean, I listen all the while. It is convenient.
And we appreciate that, my brother. I just don't want to be discussing my colleague journalists here. I don't want to.
Oh, I see. A journalist coming to the defense of another journalist.
Yeah, well, if that's how you see it. But I don't think it's appropriate.
All right. It's not necessarily defense per se, Carla, but listen, certain comments are being made of her, and she's not here to defend herself, which is why Ricardo is suggesting an appropriate medium maybe is to call her show to have that discussion. Yeah?
Well, like I said, I don't want to sound rude or anything, but I really don't have any time to waste. I wouldn't call Jackson Miller's program at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Hear you, my brother. Yes. And to you, my brother. Thank you for listening and calling.
Thank you as always.
Appreciate it. 630-937-124, 618-6730. Omalo.
Yeah, good evening, Ricardo.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Sanjay, good evening.
Hello, Omalo.
Ricardo, I think it's time for the government, based on its responsibility to protect the public, to put forward legislation that would protect the public from misleading information.
Hi. So, you know, Omalo, good question. Good question. Very good question. But tricky. Because you're going to run into problems with that little clause about freedom of expression. And I don't know, I'm open to being guided by lawyers, but I don't know that there's any sort of standard or precedent across the world where you've criminalized misinformation, which I think is what you're getting at. I don't know that has happened, but I think it is dangerous, though. I'll agree with you that's very dangerous thing.
I think in Singapore they do it, though.
Well, you know me feel about the Singapore example. That will apply to Jamaica.
If I can just add to it also before you come back in, Omala. Ricardo is correct. There's no single anti-misinformation law because the country protects freedom of expression under the Constitution, Section 13. But you have other laws that indirectly address misleading information. So the Defamation Act, Cybercrimes Act, where we are governed, for example, under the Broadcasting Commission regulation. So there is something in place, but I think that we have to be careful because if we go into the misinformation and the anti-misinformation law, we may be breaching Section 13 of the Constitution.
But when we step outside of defamation, I mean, there are other acts of misinformation that are really, really dangerous, which I think is what Omala is getting at. And I agree, because, for example...
Let me butt in, Ricardo.
Go ahead.
Because this is the thing that we want to do when we are debating and reasoning. We want to challenge thought. We don't want to just settle for, okay, there is a constitution and there's an 13 clause and this and that and that, because the constitution is not something that is written in stone. And the government also have a right to protect the people. And based on the protection of the people, the government may make laws that don't infringe the Constitution in ways where it is not. What they are trying to protect is a minor interest, but maybe it's a greater interest, so you can go ahead and make these laws. With even the Constitution having freedom to expression, because we have made law that we cannot curse, use profanity in public, and that is against our expression also too. So we have to be very careful when we are talking about the Constitution as if it is something that cannot be, the laws cannot be written around it.
Well, let me ask you then. Outside of, for example, the Cybercrimes Act, that would govern to some extent the individuals who are on social media. How else are you going to protect that misinformation unless you're going to restrict individuals, which is a breach of their constitutional right? How else are you going to get around that problem that exists?
Well, I'm saying
I'm not for a second disputing the argument that you're raising because it's very important, but it's a very tricky and delicate balance.
Okay, let me give you where I was thinking, because this is it, and this is the reason why I vote for my MP, and I went and vote, because I think when discussion comes up like this, they have the bodies that do the studies and the lawyers and all of these type of things that can look into what we are saying here in the general public and see if there is any merit to it to bring forth something. So what I'm saying is this. When you look at the danger of putting information out there, where you cannot, I put something out there and has no verification that somebody overseas has donated $20 million to the fund in Jamaica, misleading the public so that the public then can be looking at the government with mistrust and causing problem with the governance in Jamaica. These things must be verifiable. And if you're going to post something, you must can verify what it is that you are posting before you're posting. And
so
that
is
comes
it that
with
you're putting
responsibility.
it back in the hands of the social media owners that if individuals post certain information, they should label it as misinformation?
But we can see it on the social media that what they post. So if we can see it on what the social media that they post, and the Prime Minister say we will be licking back, we will be coming back at it, rather than coming back at it, make the law come at it. So if the person cannot verify what they have posted, then the person is in trouble.
All right.
We have to take a stand. We cannot just have misinformation out there talking about freedom of expression and let freedom of expression destroy the democracy and trust in institutions that we have here. Then we will be just celebrating freedom of expression and destroying the nation. We have to know where we balance these things.
Well, let me tell you, Marlo, I agree with you 100%. The challenge for me is that I don't know where the line will be or can be drawn. But I think you're
just raising it.
No, and I appreciate you raising it. I think it's a very, very serious issue. For example, I've said in the past that when you have people who tell the people to question things like the crime stats from the JCF or the statin releases, that's a very dangerous road to go down because, as you rightly said, when you tell people to lose confidence in official institutions, you are destabilizing the democratic arrangements of the country, and I think that is dangerous. I agree with you 100%, and you'd have to look far to see how dangerous it is. Just look at the United States.
Yes, Ricardo.
You'd have to look far to see how dangerous it is. But I agree with you, my brother. Yeah, man.
All right.
But he's right, Sanjay. I just don't know what the line is, and I think it's a real problem. And I think I heard the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, raising it as well, that for small island states like Jamaica and like Barbados, this potent misinformation, especially when you have to deal with crises like what we're going through now, when you have people online talking about Andrew Holness teamed up with Donald Trump to make the hurricane.
Ricardo,
and you look in the comments and you see hundreds of people agreeing. And you wonder to yourself, why am I paying education tax?
Maybe what we need to look at, I remember at one time when it was Twitter, they had the fact-checking labels.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Those major social media companies in the era of Donald Trump, they've abandoned that. Twitter has something called community notes now, which anybody can decide what a community note is. So anybody can create their version of what is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's dangerous. I agree with Omaro. It is dangerous. I don't know.
But you see, even if we pass legislation in Jamaica,
it probably wouldn't survive constitutional.
Companies to do it. They don't have to do it. They can just block their sites from Jamaica.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I worry about it. I worry about it to Omalo, and I've been talking about it for a while. Misinformation is one of the greatest threats that we're facing in the world. The way people just lie. And I heard, I think it was Munchi B, she was on with Cliff Hughes, and he asked her about it. And she said, well, basically people do it for the money, and it's true. Because the algorithms, they support the lying. It's who can tell the most outlandish, the biggest, the wickedest, the most nasty lie that get the views and the clicks. And the views and the clicks translate into money. And so they do it. Some of the most popular YouTubers and vloggers in the Jamaican space now are pure lie. They just make up things, just make it up. And you sit down and you wonder, what on earth?
You just go and make up things like that.
But them work. You when them work, then go up on the TikTok and them somebody at work and them go live.
Oh.
But it is a serious problem. It really, really is. And I worry about what it will do, because the more you lie, the more you turn off people, the more people lose faith in institutions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't see how it ends. So Omala is right to raise it. My challenge is I haven't figured out how you draw the line. Yeah, because you have to protect freedom of expression. That's important. Cornerstone of the democracy. But when people abuse it to just do ill, then that becomes a problem. The YouTubers them vexed with me. They wanted me to allow open season on Mrs. Jackson Miller, and because I wouldn't allow it, them bex. That's it go. And I forgot us bex. Because it's just not right. I wouldn't want anybody going beyond the headlines and just attack me. I wouldn't want that. So I wouldn't allow it here. 630-937-124, 618-6730. We probably can take one more before we go. James Long says, I bet if such man said he's going to scour their social media when they're entering America, all of this would stop tomorrow.
Well, I hear that they started it.
Right, but and then it depends on what you say. Because if you're saying things that the administration in the United States favors, then you're probably right. You're probably fine. Even if I lie, I tell. That's the thing, That's the thing. Even if I lie, I tell.
That's stay that way now, Ricardo.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay. Can I call Karen Cross? No, I will not call her to confirm that. What? Okay, Dwayne says, trust me, the slander law in Jamaica needs to change because a lot of people in Jamaica would pay for their mouth. You know, I think it was Emily Shields I heard talking about how, because we no longer have criminal libel. I think that's what we no longer have, right? So we have defamation now. So there really is no consequence because if them can't pay the money, they're just so. You know, them not them not the money. So they've damaged your reputation and there's just nothing. So I think I recall Emily saying perhaps consideration should be given as to whether criminal libel should come back. And people forgot jail and then they'd watch what they say. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Jamaican says, I need to allow the callers to express themselves. If you continue on this path, you are going to cost NN a lot of viewers and listeners. Jamaican for life, if you're going to stop listening because I won't allow you to attack Mrs. Jackson Miller, they know what to do. You should probably stop from now because it's not going to happen here when I'm hosting Nationwide at 5. That's all the time we have. Special thanks to our producer, Dana Davey. The man behind the controls is Andrew Glenn Anderson. Thank you, Bugs. My colleagues in the newsroom, thank you all so very much. All our callers, contributors, all our sponsors, thank you. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Good evening.
As a parent,